Hello there, very good morning to you. More than 500 people are dead in Iran as protests continue to escalate.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer is facing calls to proscribe Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist group.
Over the weekend, protesters have taken to the streets to demonstrate against the regime.
President Trump has condemned the actions of the Iranian regime.
Watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
These are the scenes after a truck plowed into a crowd in Los Angeles who are showing support for Iranian protesters. It's not yet clear what the injury situation is.
After months of mounting pressure, British farmers are taking direct action against a broken supply chain, threatening the future of British food production.
Farmers have been protesting outside this distribution centre in Peterborough since 4 a.m. this morning, blocking lorries from entering the site. We're live exclusively at the protest.
MPs are calling on the Home Secretary to sack the head of West Midlands Police after being accused of misleading Parliament over a ban on Israeli football fans at the Maccabi Tel Aviv match.
Film and TV stars have taken to the red carpet overnight for the Golden Globes in Los Angeles. We're going to be bringing you the latest from the big night.
And sport this morning, Manchester United are knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton, so will play their least amount of games in a season for 100 years. After the biggest FA Cup shock in history, 6th tier Macclesfield will find out their fourth-round opponents later. And Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz arrive in Melbourne for the Australian Open.
Hello, good morning. We've got a much milder day in store across the UK than of late, but we do hold on to pretty unsettled weather conditions, particularly towards the northwest today. Very blustery winds here, especially through the morning. I'll have all the details later.
And I hope you have a very good start to the morning and indeed the week. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, let's just get into this story which has dominated obviously for the past couple of weeks and certainly over the weekend. Hundreds of people killed in protests in Iran. Let's go to Sam Francis. Sam, you have the very latest.
Morning both. Yes, protests really have been ripping across Iran since the end of last year, December to be precise, spreading from city to city as people have been taking to the streets, calling for the end of the supreme leader's rule. And what started as anger over a collapsing economy, a crashing currency, has now really turned into something much, much bigger. It is a direct challenge to the entire Iranian system. And it's no longer just an Iranian story, it is fast becoming a global one. Human rights groups have said overnight that more than 500 are already dead. Thousands have been arrested. Iranian leaders say the protesters are foreign agents. But the scene inside Iran, well, it tells a very different story.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
There you see Donald Trump joining in there, and I don't know why we were not giving any detail on that. Well, we didn't have to do that. There's a microphone problem, but we haven't got a problem with Freddie Gray. Let's talk about that. Freddie, forgive me.
Good morning. Good morning. No forgiveness.
Freddie, what's your assessment of what we're seeing in Iran?
Well, I think obviously the key question on everyone's lips is, will Donald Trump intervene? Because he has shown a willingness to intervene in recent months and weeks, particularly on Christmas Day. I think has gone almost unnoticed, but he bombed Nigeria in Christmas Day in order to try and help alleviate pressure on Christians there. He, of course, had the Venezuela intervention. And it's fair to say that when it comes to Iran, he has shown willingness before. He bombed the nuclear facilities last summer. And another thing worth noting is that he met Netanyahu, the Israeli leader, in the betwixt Christmas and New Year period. And it's thought that Netanyahu briefed him on the situation in Iran. He actually, Truth Socials, he did a social media post at that time saying, we are locked and loaded and ready to go into Iran. Over the weekend, he said, we have a couple of options which we were exploring to intervene militarily. So it will be very interesting in the next few days to see what America and Trump do, because they do have the ability, I think, to potentially take further strikes against the regime and topple it at this precarious moment for the Iranian regime. Whether they do or not is an interesting question.
Do you think we will see a change in regime now? Because we've seen protests before, haven't we? We saw large-scale protests back in 2022. Is this time different? And if we were to see a change in regime, is there any idea of what could follow?
Well, a really interesting part of this story is that it's very hard to tell. And an interesting thing about the internet age, actually, is without internet, and I saw Iranian protesters saying internet is as important as bread, because without internet it's very hard to get a clear sense of what's going on in Iran. We get snippets of videos. We have human rights groups reporting that there are hundreds dead, but we don't actually know. It could be many more. We don't actually know the dynamics of these protests. So I think, yes, of course, the Iranian regime people have been talking about the collapse of the Iranian regime for 2 or 3 decades. Mind you, 20 years ago, people were talking about the collapse of the Saudi regime, and look how strong that is now. So you never quite know. But what's certainly true is that this seems to be a real crunch point because the Iranian economy has been so bad for so long. It's ripe for a toppling. Trump senses that, the Israelis sense that, and so now could be that moment. And
this started, didn't it, with a protest about the economy, and it's grown into so much more.
Yes, well, exactly. It's become a kind of... I mean, the Iranians always say it's foreign agents backing it, but you speak to any Iranians outside of the Middle East, and they will tell you, no, the Iranian regime is ripe for falling. The middle class have been unhappy for a very, very long time. The poor are getting desperately poor. These UN sanctions are really starting to bite. And so that this is a moment where Iran could be taken.
And in terms of pressure here at home, especially for Keir Starmer, is it time that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard is proscribed? I
find that story a little bit of a sort of sideshow because, I mean, yes, it probably could be considered a terrorist group. However, most terrorism in the world at the moment, or for the last 20, 30 years, has been carried out by Sunni terrorists, not Shia terrorists. And Iran is obviously Shia. But yes, Iran has the capacity to conduct terrorism all over the world. It has done in the past. So yes, I suppose the Revolutionary Guard should and could be considered terrorists. But I think, how you label things at this stage is not very important. The real question is, will the regime survive in Tehran?
Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it? Freddie Gray, thank you very much indeed. Are you back with us in the next hour? One-hit wonder. I don't think so. One-hit wonder. Oh, so good to speak to you. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Thank you. Well, let's speak now to Jack Carson about farmers, shall we? Because they've staged a surprise blockade of 3 major supermarket distribution centres near Peterborough for the last 2 hours. They're demanding higher farmgate prices and they're accusing retailers of squeezing producers while prices rise for consumers. While loaded lorries are currently prevented from entering or leaving the sites, while empty vehicles and supermarket staff arriving for work are allowed through.
Now, our national reporter Jack Carson, we go to him and he will tell you more.
This is gone.
Thank you very much. Well, we've been here since 4 a.m. This morning when these farmers arrived. You've been exclusively allowed to be at this protest. You can probably see some of the tractors behind us here, which are completely blocking this distribution centre, supermarket distribution centre in Peterborough. What you can't see off camera is the lorries that are now starting to queue up, unable to get into this. Ed Pritchard, the farmer who's helped organise this morning, joins us now. Ed, just tell us why you've wanted to do this protest, because this is a bit of a step from other protests. This is more direct action you're taking this morning.
Well, it's becoming quite desperate now. The industry is in absolute turmoil and we can't carry on for much longer as we are. We really do need to see a complete U-turn in the IHT. We need to see better farm gate prices being paid to us by the supermarkets and such like, and we need to see a tariff applied to imported produce into this country.
Just give us a sense of the price aspect. What are you having to deal with when you mention prices and the prices that you're getting for what you produce? Can you give us an example of where you are with that?
Well, I came home to farm in 2008 with my parents, and wheat then was £170 a tonne. Fertiliser was sub couple of £100 a tonne. A 200 horsepower tractor was 50 grand. We are now in 2026. Wheat is still £170 a tonne. Fertiliser is well in excess of £400 a tonne, and a 200 horsepower tractor is 150,000. We just can't carry on like this. The government are just going to put us out of business.
Now, it was the Oxford Farming Conference last week. Emma Reynolds was there speaking to farmers. One of the things she said was that the government have listened, that they understand the concerns of farmers. They want to help you grow and build that resilience. Do you think the government are starting to understand what you're dealing with day to day?
No. They don't fully understand what they're doing. They don't understand how the countryside works. They don't understand how our industry works. They have no idea. They need to come out and see us on farm and get a full understanding of how our industry works. They don't have any idea.
And just build us a picture of what's happening today, because we're at one distribution centre here in Peterborough, but these are happening in different parts of the country as well.
Yeah, so there are lads in Hinckley, and there's a sales here in Peterborough, and then we have another group of lads up in Peterborough. They're all Tesco's fresh distribution points. So the idea is we fit as many as we can to try and drive our message home.
All right, Ed, thank you so much for joining us this morning here at the protest where these farmers are blocking lorries from entering the distribution centre.
Well, Jack, Ed is absolutely right. When he says they haven't got a clue, they couldn't possibly have a clue when they think of the money, the investment, the technology needed to operate and to do what they're supposed to do. It's just incredible, the ignorance involved.
Certainly, obviously at the Oxford Farming Conference last week, Emma Reynolds tried to put to farmers that they're trying to build a better financial picture for them, particularly focusing, of course, the new launch of the new Sustainable Farming Incentive payments, which last year they were suddenly closed with no real prior warning for farmers, and that meant a lot of them lost out on a lot of money that they do use to try and invest and build into their business. Of course, you heard Ed talking there about how the cost that they get for wheat is the same as it was over 10 years ago, but the price of fertiliser going up tenfold, the prices amongst inflation across all other items across the sector going up as well. So you can understand clearly why they need some better financial security from the government, that the payments they get from them. They also, of course, want that conversation with the likes of supermarkets about exactly how much they get paid for the food that they produce.
Them tax allowances for the equipment that they buy and invest in. But we take Ed's words on board this morning, Jack, that politicians don't have a clue what they're talking about. My language exactly. What I
You would agree with that, yeah?
I would agree with that, and they haven't had experience in the real world. Jack, we'll leave it there, and we'll look forward to coming back to you later and see how this develops this morning. For the moment, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Jack. Well, let us know what you think on that story, gbnews.com/you'll say. At 13 minutes past 6, I think it's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi, my name's Jordan and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. When I first got married, I began to get invited to my wife's family holidays. And every year they had the habit of going to the same place, and they'd go to the Dingle Peninsula in Ireland. And the first time I went, it was beautiful with the mountains and the beach and the sea and the views. It was a real spiritual time for me because I got to go away and have space and be with God. A pilgrimage, if you like, taking time aside to go and think and reflect and be with God. There's a story in Luke where Jesus goes to Jerusalem on a pilgrimage when he's 12 with his mother Mary and Joseph. And it highlights to us the importance of creating space for us to be present to ourselves, present to God and present to one another.
And as we start the day and start the week, I think it's time to reflect on the weather situation. Marco in charge of that today.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Change of pace, yes, right after the break. We're looking forward to brightening things up because it was a big night for film and television.
Yes, who won big at the Golden Globes in Los Angeles? We're going to tell you more next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Here's where we're supposed to tell you there's lots of nice things coming your way. I would doubt that is the case. Miss Ellie, though, she's up for the cinema tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd like to go see Hamlet tonight and seeing...
Not Hamlet, Hammett.
Hamnet, yeah.
Hamnet.
Yes.
Who's Hamnet?
Well, it's about Shakespeare and his grief.
Is that a pun on the title there? Alex Davis will tell us. Hamlet? No?
Hamlet, it's based off a book, I believe. It's based off a book of that name.
Yeah.
And it's about William Shakespeare and his wife's the loss of their child. Not exactly a rip-roaring laugh-a-minute sort of story, but it is winning awards, including
2 Irish actors.
Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley. And Buckley won last night for Best Actress, yes. And Hamlet itself, surprisingly, won Best Drama. Everybody thought it was going to go to Sinners, which is the vampire horror film that came out last year. But no, Hamlet did well, but it was not the biggest winner.
Which was?
Which was in the TV world. Do you remember Adolescence?
Couldn't care less.
The much talked about, if you're the BBC documentary, where it's going to be played in school and a government tool, but it's still winning awards. Owen Cooper, 16 years old, he broke another record, becoming the youngest actor to win Best Supporting Actor last night.
Where were these all held? Where were the Golden Globes?
This was LA. This was at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. But yeah, Adolescence, Owen Cooper won, Stephen Graham won, Erin Doherty won, and Adolescence itself won. And that was probably the best the Brits fared last night. It wasn't an amazing night for the Brits, unless you worked on Adolescence. But it wasn't the only one. One battle after another. Leonardo DiCaprio's latest film. That's a really
I've heard of that.
Oh, it was good. It came out last year around September time. A bit of a weird one for an award-winning film to be released. But that did really well last night. That was nominated for 9, and that went home with 4 awards, including Best Director and Best Musical Comedy flick. Other winners, Timothée Chalamet. He is finally getting the awards that he feels he deserves.
He's the man of the moment when it comes to awards.
He's the man of the moment. He's going out with a Kardashian.
Kylie?
Well, a member of the Kardashians, Kylie Jenner. His star power is very high, but he famously on the awards circuit last year made a very clear point that he was in the acting game to win awards. He wasn't there to take part, he wanted to take over. And this is sort of him on the charge now. They think he might get the Oscars for it as well. He's in Marty Supreme. And, I mean, this wouldn't have hurt his chances by any stretch of the imagination.
Were there any shock snubs?
There were a couple of snubs. The Frankenstein, which came out on Netflix last year.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
Didn't like
it was 2.5 hours, and it was about 2 hours too long. It wasn't my taste. No, it was. It opens quite well. It opens with a big dramatic scene, and you see the Frankenstein's monster, and
comes up through the ice.
Yeah, it comes up through the ice, and he kills a load of people. And then for me, it just trails, and it becomes very slow. It wasn't my cup of tea. Hamlet, I've not seen yet.
I'll let you know.
That doesn't seem like my cup of tea, but The Housemaid, which wasn't nominated, sadly.
So what is Housemaid wasn't...
The Housemaid wasn't nominated. That's just another film that Ellie's going to go see.
That's another film I want to see this week. Yeah, it's a thriller.
But you think it sort of should have been nominated? You think it's a good watch?
I was quite sad because my favourite film last year was something called Weapons, which was a horror film, and the supporting actress in that is called Amy Madigan, and she was the front runner to win her Golden Globe last night, and she was snubbed in favour of Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another. So I was a bit disappointed with that one because I really liked Weapons. Yeah. That's my recommendation.
I just think what they're making and what people want to see are just totally out of touch with each other. I just don't think there is the common touch with a lot of stuff these days. It's all too depressing. And
artsy.
Yes.
Artsy, yeah.
Well, Neon is this name of this big production house, and they got their record number of Golden Globe nominations, and they're very into the old alternative sort of...
Yes. And we're going to see less and less films around, Alex, because if this Warner Studios takeover goes ahead, that will be just bought by a streaming channel like Netflix.
Yeah.
And they will be looking for 6 episodes of something as opposed to 2 hours of something.
Well, Paramount, who have their own streaming service here as well, they bought out CBS and Comcast and all these big companies in America. You know, CBS is one of the biggest cable services out there, and now it's owned by Paramount, who own MTV Channel 5 over here. So they're all owned by these streamers. And they're just going to churn out the same old stuff.
It's a changing world out there.
We should say, if there's anything on that you think is worth watching, streaming, or any movies that you've seen recently that you think that was very, very good, we'd like to know what you think, not what they think. And then we'll talk about that next time that Alex is back.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay.
And you've been staying up through the night for us, haven't you?
Yes.
And you're
matchsticks on the eyelids.
No, you look very fresh.
And you're back with us at 8, so we'll see you then.
Right, this will open your eyes wide, the Great British Giveaway. Time is ticking on your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 tax-free. Here we go.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. In Scotland, the Snowgate on the A93 at Braemar remains closed due to severe weather conditions. In North Wales, high winds are affecting the A55 at Britannia Bridge, so take extra care when crossing, especially in high-sided vehicles. In the southeast, there are delays of around 10 minutes on the M25 anti-clockwise, on the entry slip at Junction 2 from the A2 eastbound with traffic building. And on the trains, Great Western Railway reports disruption across various routes, while ScotRail says severe weather is affecting numerous routes and services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Just to let you know, very latest on the FA Cup results over the weekend and a couple of shockers. I speak from personal experience in this one. Back with Paul Coyte and that after this.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jude Sinker with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
A few necessary sports results to get through. FA Cup, I love FA Cup.
I know, me too.
It's my big day of the year. I've always traditionally loved that idea of building up to the kick-off and whatever. And now not to be for either you or me.
Yeah, I know. So now, really, quite frankly, we don't care about the FA Cup anymore. We're just not interested. So well, it was all great, but we're just not going to bother with it anymore.
Well, obviously, I mean, I wouldn't want to play into that narrative that it's not the competition it used to be. No. It's weak. I think it's the best competition, and somebody will one day invent it, like the Super Bowl or.
Well, sir, let me tell you, Macclesfield beat Crystal Palace, of course, on Saturday. 5 divisions and 112 places below Crystal Palace. And the thing is, Crystal Palace, of course, being the holders, and. Did you know that there was a ball that was given? See, I mean, what's the chances here that Crystal Palace, the first time they did this, is that because the FA Cup winners would be able to use a special winner's ball. So that's it. They're not going to get a chance to use it anymore because Macclesfield have beaten them. And this probably is the biggest FA Cup shock there's ever been. There's ever been. Even Hereford and Newcastle back in the early 70s and Ronnie Radford, all that, no, 112 places below Crystal Palace. So Macclesfield is incredible. Now, the most third-round goals for 69 years there were across the weekend. 124 so far. Still 2 games to go. So Liverpool against Barnsley. So there'll probably be a few in that, I would think. Barnsley will probably score about 6, I should think, at Anfield. And Salford against Swindon happens next week. So Man City scored 10 against Exeter. Wolves got 6 against Shrewsbury. Burnley 5, Millwall 1. Bristol City 5. Chelsea scored 5. And then yesterday, Leeds, Arsenal, West Ham, West Brom, Mansfield, Norwich and Hull have gone through. Shall we talk about Manchester United a little bit? Man United 1, Brighton 2. Darren Fletcher's probably last game.
You got to bear in mind this was a home game for United, and they've traditionally always done so well in the FA Cup, and just no fight about it. There's nothing.
Well, they knocked out the first hurdle for the first time since out of that League Cup and the FA Cup, first time since 1981-82. First time they've gone out of both so early, and also there'll be only 40 games then that Manchester United will play this season, because out of those cups so early, no Europe, and this is the least amount of games that Man United would have played in a season since 1914, 1915, at the start of the First World War. So when you get managers going, oh, we're playing too much, at least that's one thing United can't be saying now. But Michael Carrick, though, is now the favourite to be taking over as the interim manager, as Darren Fletcher is the interim. That's where we stand at the moment.
Should we look at the tennis?
Let's have a little look at tennis, shall we? The Australian Open begins at the end of the week. Two of the best in the world that look like carving up everything, Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, have been speaking as they just arrived in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's great. We both are sleeping quite a lot, so we haven't chat so much, but it's great, you know, to have both teams, you know, in the same plane, and it was good.
We push each other, you know, to be better. So I think that's what I keep from this good rivalry. I think everybody needs someone that pushes you to be better.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't have seen Jimmy Connors and Bjorn Borg doing that in the day. They're just like a couple of young fellas who are just mates.
They look like best mates.
They do look like... and the thing is, they are, and they're carving up tennis between the two of them. There's only... I mean, if you look at number one and number two, it flip-flops between the two. Sinner, Alcaraz, Sinner. There's only one person that stands a chance of getting in the middle of them.
I think you've got to despise your main rival. Opponent, you know.
But you know who the other person is, don't you? Out of the two, you know, there's only one person that could get between them when it comes to the majors.
Who?
Have a look. That's the only person that's in with a chance of getting somewhere between Sinner and Alcaraz. But
you wouldn't want to rub him up the wrong way.
You absolutely wouldn't, and I would never dream of doing such a thing. Finally, let's just have a quick look. And then when it comes to the women's tournament, let's have a look at our friend Hajar Abdelkader again.
Oh, bless
we
her.
saw her on Friday. She was in the... there she is. There. I'd love to see her at the Australian Open. I think they should give her a wild card. We saw it on Friday, but... she played in a professional tennis tournament, still nobody knows how.
It's like she's never picked up a racket before.
It does look like that, but I think it'd be great for viewers, get her into the Australian Open and give her a chance. Anyway, you never know.
The Eddie Eagle, the
well, yeah, there you go.
Equivalent of tennis.
She plays tennis like I play tennis.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Paul will be back again in 40 minutes' time. Right, after the break, we have got the newspaper situation, and in today, talking about that, we've got Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi right after this.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, here's your latest holiday sun forecast brought to you by the Met Office. On Tuesday, we'll see some unsettled weather across the western Med with some snow across the hills further east. So confirmation then of some outbreaks of rain on Tuesday across the Canaries, Madeira, parts of western Spain and Portugal. Mostly fine, as I say, across the central part of the Med there, certainly for Italy, one or two showers and some bright spells too, but a risk of snow certainly across the hills of Turkey. As for the coming few days, well, things generally quieten down, but we'll see further rain at times across western parts.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow. We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon Britain. Weekdays from midday.
More than 10 people have had to be rescued after a huge sinkhole opened in a canal in Shropshire, leaving several narrowboats stranded.
Yes, 3 boats have been affected by the incident, with at least 2 swallowed by the sinkhole, which is approximately 50 by 50 metres in size.
Extraordinary. Well, joining us with the story is Paul Smith-Story, who's on a canal boat 3 boats away from this sinkhole. Paul, this sort of thing doesn't really happen very often, does it?
It doesn't. There was a huge breach on the Bridgewater Canal last year, but this is the first time we've actually seen boats at the bottom of the breach. It was quite scary to witness, to be honest.
So how close are you? What can you see from where you are?
Yeah, well, we're about 90 metres away from where the sinkhole started. We got woke up at 4:20 this morning. There was crashing on the boat because the boat was listing. We got off, and a friend of ours told us that there was this sinkhole that had appeared and that there was a boat about to drop into it. And that was, when we got there, the boat was already in the bottom of this sinkhole. The rush of water was incredible. It just sounded like a huge waterfall. Luckily, those boaters got out, and we actually know the chap whose first boat went in. We're just so thankful that he got out in time with his dog.
Gosh, Paul, just explain what we're seeing on our screens right now. So the narrow boat there has come out of the water that we see on the left, and it's sort of, has it rolled over and down into the sinkhole? What's going on?
That's the actual line where the red clay is the line of the canal. Just where those 3 trees are to the left is a field that's flooded, and I think that's where the water's escaped from the canal, and it's just flooded the field to the left of that image. It was really scary.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's 6:41. We're going through the papers in the company of Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi this morning. Morning, you two.
Morning. Makers talk today. I mean, here's a lot of rubbish on the front page of the Sun, and it says taxi for the BBC, and it says BBC, now an organisation the size of the BBC and what it has to do on radio and television. Beeb to blow 63 million on cabs that are available 24/7. How do these people actually think you get guests into a studio?
100%.
Without what?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's absolute madness. It's madness.
It's an essential part of what they do.
Exactly.
Just get on.
You'd have no guests, no presenters, nobody. If you say, no, actually, we're not going to get you there. You make your own way. I know you're coming from Honolulu, but make your own way. I don't go for a 2-minute segment.
Especially late-night programmes, early morning starts, when there's no public transport. I mean, there's no other way, is there?
Yeah, I mean, giving it some balance, though, they do pay for taxis if you live sort of like, quite close and it's the middle of the day when you can quite easily get public transport. So
yeah, no, but it's not about that.
It is a cost-saving thing.
No, but it's not about that. No, actually, but they need to make sure you get there on time. So if the BBC or any company sends a car for you, it's because it's vitally important that they know you're on site and in the building, in the green room, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yeah, not,
You know, they talk and they criticise and they hit these taxi situations. Taxis, most of them are, they'll not be limousines, put it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing is, if they don't send you in a taxi, they'd have to do it on a train, which you pay much more for, or an airplane.
Yeah, there is that.
So how do you base your whole organisation in Salford? How are people supposed to get their walk?
Yeah.
What a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
And as you say, with an organisation that size, it's not that much money in the great scheme of things, but the problem is it's our money.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Well, and also it's the BBC, so we want to hammer the BBC again.
But yeah, I mean, that very headline and the subject, it's like, you know exactly what angle they're going for.
Dawn, this is related. Let's talk about soaring drop-off fees at the airport. I went to Heathrow on Friday to collect my sister, and it was £7 just to drop her off.
This all started, correct me if I'm wrong, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was like, and they sort of, it's one of those things that was sneaked in during the pandemic, hoping that no one would actually notice. So when you went to drop off someone at the airport, it was suddenly £5.
Yeah.
What? No one quite explained what it was for.
Yeah.
And then when you did ask, it was like, oh, it's something to do. Oh, it's you know, it's for eco reasons.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to be green, and it's like. This is an airport.
Yeah.
You've got jets thundering in and out. Me dropping off someone is not going to add to your carbon footprint.
Yeah, I think, but the reality is that the business of running the airport have recognised hitherto a loophole that was not being exploited, that is now exploitable. And actually, you look at the way they've done it, where they see what the public will tolerate. So first of all, I think it was £2, £5, now it's £7. And this is a very, it's just a strategy that retail do as well. In the retail sector, when it comes to pricing, what they're prepared to do now is to see at what point the public will kick back and no longer buy that product. So they can't inflate the product. You keep on buying it because you want it, and then and they can tell on your loyalty cards, you know, any retailer, but you know, you've got a loyalty card. When you stop buying that, then they can just drop it back 5%, and they know what the acceptable price point is as opposed to the CPI or RPI. So that's what the airport are doing here too.
But the thing is, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, you need to drop people off at the airport. You've got a captive audience. You can't not do it.
Well, get a BBC taxi. Now, listen, national treasures, right? So David Attenborough is regarded as the biggest national treasure in the country. I don't think I would argue with that.
Eamonn Holmes gives him a close run for his money, I'd like to think.
There we go.
But, I mean, I know all the people in this list, and you know some of them, you raise your eyes and you think, really? But there's a whole list coming forward of who this should be, and Adele is in there.
Love her.
Tottenham. Sorry, can't do that. No, sorry.
That works for me.
Not a national treasure for a West Ham fan.
Jeremy Clarkson is in there.
Okay.
As well. J.K. Rowling.
Definitely. Definitely J.K. Rowling.
And Alison Hammond.
Alison's nice.
So I think from the list that you just mentioned there, J.K. Rowling would definitely... I've only just engaged with the Philosopher's Stone. It just came out on audio, and it's a fantastic book. It's really dramatic, and you know, it gives you hope, an idea. We've all got a talent.
You see, and that brings me to the Golden Globes, Chris. You see, you look at something like a Harry Potter film, whether you like it or whether you don't, you can see that it's entertainment. You can see that effort is going into it, whatever. I am fed up seeing what is released on cinema and television, and it's dreary, and it's serious, and it's irksome. I find it very hard to find things that I actually like.
So, go and see The Housewife. Is it called The Housewife?
I'm seeing on Thursday.
Fabulous. It's fabulous.
It's a thriller.
This is The Housemaid we're talking about.
The Housemaid, yeah. Okay, there you go.
That sounded like a completely different film.
But The Housewife, actually, there's a lot in that faux pas. Housewife, housemaid. There's a lot in that. It's dramatic. And
I've read the book. The book's good.
The lead man is absolutely... All us men, he puts you in shape, absolutely buff, handsome, and you can see
man crush.
Drop dead gorgeous. You know why the girls love him, and he's a perfect. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's a perfect husband. Works hard, loads of dough, loves his wife. When she's crumbling, he's there for her. Oh, it's just, and of course, I mean, it's just.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it
now.
But I really enjoyed it, and I don't enjoy much. So I don't know why that's not on this.
But it won't win awards, will it?
Yeah, and I don't know why not, because it's. I found it really dramatic. I love the BITCHness of women, the way that there's a particular set, and the way that they are. Oh, nice. And then when one of them goes away, they absolutely eviscerate her, and it's just amazing.
That's not true of all women. And
I do have to say, though, as a man in a female world environment of TV, I'm not referring to you in this, but quite far from you. But it always struck me that when I worked with a television presenter, they'd be very nice. Hello, Ellie. Ellie, how are you? Ellie, you look gorgeous. You look lovely, Ellie. Love your shoes. And as soon as Ellie would leave, I'm not saying this actually happened, but the Ellie type person.
Tell me if someone is doing
Did you see the state of her? Oh my God! I'm actually shocked. Men do not talk.
No chance. No chance. Well, this is the thing. When you see this is a little set, when you see that little pastiche, it's just brilliant because that's what some ladies can be like. And they're such a lovely bunch, PTA group. Oh, how lovely! No, darling. Can you believe her? And you know, what did you see in her? You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
You can do what you want.
I'm going to stand up for women here.
Well, we're not like that.
Through my whole life in television, that is all I've ever known, and I could write a book on it.
Right, well, you should do it.
I want to see that book.
Yeah.
You should actually.
I'll talk to you about names.
Okay, brother. Okay, mate, lovely.
Yeah. I'm going to stand up for, because I've worked in newspapers, and women in newspapers, back in the day, there's so few of us that we try to support one another.
You all pretend you have this sisterhood, and it's the girls together.
I'm not pretending.
It's girls sticking up for girls, but it's not.
As soon as that spider comes, get down here, you. Who do you think you are?
Mansplaining the sisterhood to us.
Oh dear. Chris, let's stay with TV and film show and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
So I've not seen it, but I've just read this, and actually, it's a Netflix.
You're tempted to watch it now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a Netflix series, 31 million something. What's by 31 million people? But it's interesting. Apparently, it's about physics, and the Institute of Physics say they love the idea of way of boosting young people to take up physics. But actually, the more you get into it, you see, it's not just about the physics, the physical universe. It's also about the philosophy as well. The idea that are we in a perfect universe, a parallel universe? Are there bridges between worlds? Now, that's my kind of thinking. And if I was watching this, certainly the philosophical side would drag me into the physics side. Then you start thinking about quantum physics, etc. So actually, this is great if young people are drawn into physics. Then you think about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. All of a sudden, before you see this ephemeral stuff can bring you into the physical world properly. So yeah, I love this.
John, what would you settle down to watch? What would you like? There's a certain type of programme. I mean, I find myself watching a lot of Traitors at the moment.
Oh, that's good.
And
I watched the Celebrity Traitors, loved it. I can't watch the Ordinary Traitors. There's too many of them in it. I mean, it started with like 22 people. I couldn't keep up.
It's too soon after the Celebrity one as well.
There is that as well. I mean, my problem, especially as a West Ham fan, is I just end up watching football most of the time. Football and news. Neither of which are that happy at the moment.
Need a good switch
How did you do in the FA Cup at the weekend?
Get in! Now you mentioned it, Eamonn. Now you mentioned it. We're prepared for next year because we played. we played a championship side. It was 1-1 at full time. We got over the line next time, but it was great. All of a sudden, I thought, actually, this is our standard, and we might win more than we lose and draw a little bit more. We'll be all right for getting down.
We beat QPR.
We beat West Ham, of course.
We beat QPR 2-1. It took extra time. We're Premiership, they're Championship, but we will be in the same league next year without a doubt.
Yeah. I'm going to suggest anything you watch right now. It's Harlan Coben's Runaway. It's on Netflix. It's a thriller, drama series. I think it's 6 episodes. The best thing I've watched in a very long time. So many twists and turns. You don't know what's coming next. Shockers. Fantastic.
The difficulty about what Ellie's talking about there, what you're talking about football, she's talking about that. I would say Slow Horses on Apple TV, but here's my problem. Too many stations.
Oh, can't keep up.
All over the place.
Yeah.
What the heck channel are they on? Who's in it? Whatever it is. And TV experience is not as good as it used to be. And when they buy over Warner Studios, whoever buys it over, they'll not be buying it to make films. They'll be buying it to make streaming services.
So what you said there about there being too many outlets. So when I was younger and just getting there's 4 channels, and when in particular with sports, you got to see people at grassroots. So you saw boxing, ABA championships, and you could see somebody go up, and by the time they got to the world stage, you knew exactly who they were, their styles, their ducking and weaving, and you could champion them. Exactly the same for track and field athletics.
I think this weekend we should be championing talking about Elish McColgan.
Yes.
As well, you know, she's a European 10 kilometres record in Valencia.
Yeah.
7 days after her previous record was broken. And there was a time when that was shown on network television. Everybody got behind it, and it was a great thing. And I also watched the Horse of the Year show recently, which was great atmosphere attached to something like that. But who knows? Who knows?
I watch a lot of GB News. I think that's really good.
That's it.
Well, you are GB News.
Well, we're going to be back, guys, talking more in about 40 minutes' time. For the moment, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, let us know what you think of any of those stories. gbnews.com/yours say. For now, let's get a check on the weather with Marco Patanga.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere, though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The snow gate on the A93 at Braemar is closed due to adverse weather, and motorists should avoid the area if possible. On the A55 at Britannia Bridge, high winds are causing issues until further notice, with drivers advised to take extra care and allow extra time. In Cumbria, the A595 southbound is slow between the A5094 at Whitehaven South and the junction with the A5086, with delays of around 10 minutes. And on the trains, Great Western Railway has disruption across various routes, while ScotRail says severe weather is affecting numerous services. With cancellations and delays possible, for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 081 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good morning. Mass unrest continues to sweep through Iran as the death toll surpasses 500. Sir Keir Starmer is now facing calls to prescribe Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard a terrorist group as protesters demonstrate in London.
In reply, President Trump has said he is considering very strong military options against Iran as the protester death toll climbs.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Multiple people have been injured as a lorry has rammed into a crowd at an anti-Iran protest in Los Angeles.
After months of mounting pressure, farmers in this country are taking direct action against a broken supply chain, threatening the future of British food production. Your views welcome.
Since 4 a.m. this morning, farmers have been blocking distribution centres of a major UK supermarket here in Peterborough, where I am, and elsewhere in the country. GB News is live exclusively at one of the protests.
MPs are calling on the Home Secretary to sack the head of West Midlands Police. It's after they were accused of misleading Parliament over a ban on Israeli football fans at the Maccabi Tel Aviv match in November.
Former heads of the British Armed Forces are making a last-ditch rallying cry to scrap the handover of the Chagos Islands ahead of the decisive vote in Parliament, and that is happening today.
In sport this morning, Manchester United are knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton, so will play their least amount of games in a season for 100 years. After the biggest FA Cup shock in history, sixth-tier Macclesfield will find out their fourth-round opponents later on this afternoon. And Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz arrive in Melbourne for the Australian Open.
Hello, good morning. We've got a much milder day in store across the UK than of late, but we do hold on to pretty unsettled weather conditions, particularly towards the northwest today. Very blustery winds here, especially through the morning. I'll have all the details later.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Just after 7 o'clock, thanks for your company. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, Paul, it was the magic of the Cup over the weekend. There's still a big tie to go tonight involving Liverpool and
Barnsley. That's tonight.
Yeah.
And Swindon are going to play as well. So there's another game. So that's it. And there's been more goals than there's been for a very, very long time.
City hitting 10.
10 goals. I can't think of anybody ever hitting 10.
Yeah.
Can you?
Nope.
That was unbelievable.
Nope.
So I had a message from a friend of mine who's a very well-renowned sports broadcaster. They said this will be the biggest shock if Man City lose. I said, well, I don't think they're going to. And then they managed to score 10 against Exeter. Yeah. But Manchester United are out and Spurs are out. So, quite frankly, there's not really much point of us really bothering now. So that's it. We're just.
I think the Macclesfield Crystal Palace game doesn't get the recognition it should, because Palace, traditionally not a big side, and Macclesfield, have played in the higher echelons of the league at times, but people don't realise there's, 6 divisions between
6
them?
divisions, and the big thing is that Crystal Palace are the holders of the FA Cup, so they go over there, and Macclesfield, again, it's all parked up. That's the magic of the Cup, Eamonn. That's the magic of the Cup, Ellie.
OK, great. We're going to be speaking to you about all of that, Paul, in about 15 minutes' time. Thank you very much.
Now, making big news this morning is the situation as to what is happening to people who farm for an income. And they've staged a surprise blockade of 3 major supermarket distribution centres. This is near Peterborough, and they're demanding higher farm gate prices, and they accuse retailers of squeezing producers while price rises for consumers.
Well, loaded lorries are currently prevented from entering or leaving those 3 sites, while empty vehicles and supermarket staff that are arriving for work are allowed through.
Let's go to our national reporter, Jack Carson, who last time around, Jack, you were just talking about the impropriety, the difference between what the farmers are paying for, say, their machinery to do their day-to-day jobs, running into hundreds of thousands of pounds, and what they're actually getting back in return.
Exactly. Farmers, the costs that they have to pay to produce food have gone up through the roof over the last 10 years, but some of the prices that they're getting for that food is the same as it was 10 years ago. It's very simple to realise that doesn't work, and that certainly isn't sustainable. Andrew Pritchard is another farmer who's here at the protest this morning. I mean, this is a bit different. This is a bit more direct action to what you've taken before. Why have you wanted to take action like this today?
We can't keep producing food at below the cost of production. The supermarket is able to sell food and make a profit. We need to be paid a proper price so that we can also make a profit. If we're making a profit, we're paying income tax. If we're making a profit, we're able to invest in our businesses and keep the business working. At the moment, our businesses are grinding to a halt.
I mean, you're a farmer in Lincolnshire. It's one of the counties which produces some of the most food for the UK, and it's crucial really to food security in this country. Do you worry for the long-term future of farming in this part of the world, given the circumstances that you're telling us you're in?
If things keep going as they are, farmers will stop farming because they can't afford to keep farming. And in this uncertain world that we find ourselves in, with all sorts of new political movements, food security, homegrown food, is the one thing we can rely on. And it's the one thing that's being neglected by government and by the supermarkets.
Now, it was the Oxford Farming Conference last week. Emma Reynolds, the Secretary of State for Food, Rural Affairs, the Environment, she was there speaking to farmers. One of the things she said was that for the government, national security is food security and vice versa. And she says that the government have listened, that changes were made just before Christmas to inheritance tax, and that surely should be put behind now and be able to move forward. Is it not true that the government have the best interest of farmers in mind?
I think this government is quite remarkable. I won't go into the reasons why, but inheritance tax is, I suppose, the last straw for the farmers. It got us all out on the streets protesting, and now, although we've had a climb down from Starmer on inheritance tax, we need a complete U-turn, because inheritance tax for farmers just should not be on the statute book. But as Starmer himself acknowledged in one of his interviews on the Parliamentary Select Committee, he acknowledged that the real problem with farming is the lack of profitability, and we know that. That's why we're here today. It needs lots of effort from government, and it needs the supermarkets to recognise that British farming is in crisis. and it's very simple what's wrong with it. We're not being paid enough money for the food that we produce. There is too much imported food coming into this country, imported food that's produced at lower cost standards than ours, and the imported food just lowers our prices. It means we have to produce food at a high standard, but get paid less than cost of production.
Andrew Pritchard, thank you so much for joining us here, of course, from the front line here at the protest today. And what I can say in terms of the lorries and the disruption it's causing, they are now backed up all the way to the main roads because, of course, this blockade has been in place since 4 a.m. this morning.
Keep us posted, Jack, and we'll see how it develops and how the morning goes on. Thank you very much indeed. But just to hear there the differential between what it takes to farm, how much money they make in comparison to, we've already criticised the politicians, but in comparison to the supermarkets don't make millions of pounds profit. Some of them can make billions, and some of them, they're all making hundreds of millions, and they're doing that at the expense of the farmers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us know your view, have your say on that this morning, and we'll reflect that as the programme goes on.
And you can hear the farmers there saying they not only want conversations with the government, they want conversations with the supermarkets.
Of course.
They need support from both sides.
Of course.
Let us know what you think. Now, at 10 minutes past 7, hundreds have been killed. Reportedly 500 people, potentially even more, have been killed in protests in Iran. Sam Francis has the very latest for us this morning.
Yeah, good morning both. Let's bring you the latest then on what we know so far about the situation on the ground in Iran, where protests have really been ripping through the country in recent months, since around December of last year, and now growing in significance and in strength, really, in recent weeks. All started from anger back in December over a crashing economy and a collapsing currency. But that has now turned into something much bigger, much more significant. Now calls for the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the end of the regime itself. Now, here in the UK, meanwhile, protests have also been taking place over the weekend. Sir Keir Starmer, alongside a number of other European leaders in France and in Germany too, saying they are deeply concerned about the situation. But what was first an Iranian issue is now quickly becoming a global one, marked most notably by Donald Trump, who has stepped into the situation. He says that Iran faces a significant threat and a significant hit, he says, if Iran continues to, in his words, kill any more protesters. Here's what he had to say.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Well, the regime has pushed back in force to the protests overnight, in fact. Just estimates of around 500 people killed in those protests and demonstrations so far. Also, thousands others arrested. Donald Trump, as I say, stepping in, warning Iran that it will be hit very hard if any further violence continues. And that really has changed the game. It now means that Iran isn't just dealing with protesters on its own streets, but also at risk of dragging the US into the situation too. And that is why in recent days we've heard reports that the internet has been blacked out, phone lines have been cut, all in an attempt by Tehran and its rulers to prevent any videos, any footage of shootings and killings from getting out. Now, it means that as the streets continue to boil away in Iran and Washington weighs up its next move, we're waiting to see just how much further the situation will develop and just how serious the situation may get in the weeks ahead.
OK, Sam Francis, thank you very much for bringing that to us. Well, for a further assessment now, let's speak now to the former Conservative MP and British Army officer Bob Seeley. Thanks for joining us this morning, Bob. What's your assessment of what we're seeing happening in Iran?
Morning, Eamonn. Morning, Ellie. I think these are historic days, and it was incredibly disappointing to see so much of the old mainstream media pick it up so slowly. And well done to GB News for actually being on the ball, much more so than others. These are historic events. you're probably looking at, if not this time, then certainly next time, the overthrow by the Iranian people of this despicable Islamicist regime, which has plagued their country for nearly 3 decades. So these are great and extraordinary events. And I strongly suspect there's a lot more than 500 people who've been killed, because this is a brutal regime and they will have no qualms about killing their own people, as they have done over a series of protests and smaller scale uprisings over the past 15 years.
But Bob, sad though that is, shocking though that is as well, isn't the truth, my friend, that nobody cares, and the only reason we care is if America cares, or Britain cares, or Russia cares, and it's all over oil. Oil will play a part in this.
Well, I don't, Eamonn, with respect, I don't buy that analysis. And actually, oil can sometimes be a valuable factor, so it doesn't have to be negative. I think a lot of people care, especially in the Middle East. Iran has been behind so much of the violence in the Middle East in the last 20 years because of its control of its proxy paramilitary sort of semi-conventional armies and political groups, be it Hezbollah in Israel, be it Hamas, be it Islamic Jihad, be it Shia families in Bahrain, be it the various groups that it runs in Iraq. So actually a lot of people care, because if you take away the mullahs of Tehran out of the equation in the Middle East, you're much more likely to find a situation where Saudi and the UAE and other countries can lead the Arab world and the Muslim world. And, you know, Iranians are Shia and Persian, slightly different, but they can lead most of the Middle East into a long-term peace with Israel. And that's what you're looking at. And that's what the mullahs, especially in the last 10 years, have been desperately trying to avoid. So this is very important for that part of the world, and actually important for the wider world as well.
And Bob, how likely, if at all, do you think it will be that there'll be some sort of US intervention? And what do you think the options on the table are looking like?
Yeah, I mean, one shouldn't get sidetracked, Ellie. This is fundamentally about the Iranian people trying to overthrow a regime which has brutally oppressed them. So that is the story here. And yes, you know, there may be some US action. It doesn't have to be military. They don't have to bomb targets. It could be working with the NSA and potentially GCHQ, if our government actually wanted to step up to the mark in forcing open the internet, or finding ways for people to communicate, all those tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on the streets, finding a way for them to communicate with each other so that they can coordinate or start to coordinate their action. Because what the regime wants to do is, as it's done in the past, pick off the ringleaders, isolate people, and then deal with these protests violently, one at a time. So potentially the most useful thing the US and its allies, if they wanted to could do, would be to help open up the internet and help people communicate within Iran with each other, so that everyone can see what is happening.
Bob, what is happening? What would you say the chances of an overthrow may be?
Yeah, I think better, I think more likely than they have been, but it's still not, I think it's still very much in the balance, for the simple reason that if you look at the factors that tend to make up a successful revolution, a divided regime is an important part of that. And at the moment, whilst you have reports of some police and low-level security officials taking part in the protests because they're fed up with their regime, the Iranian regime as well, the regime at a senior level still seems to be united. They still seem to have their fanatical paramilitary groups on side. So this is by no means a given. But I think what we can say is that the protests are larger and much more substantive than they have been at any time in Iran's recent past. And if these don't succeed in overthrowing the regime, it will be extraordinarily weakened afterwards. And I think you're looking at the end of the Iranian regime. Whether it goes next week or in 18 months' time, this regime now has a limited lifespan. And that is a good thing for the world, and actually a good thing for Britain, considering that we, along with Israel, along with the US, are their trinity of enemies. And really, we should be doing, we don't have to be bombing Iran, but there are things that we can be doing. And I hope this government is, because I've been incredibly underwhelmed by the government response to this problem. We should be congratulating those people in fighting for their freedom. And I think with some news organizations and some governments, if it's not anti-Israel or anti-Trump, there seems to be limited interest. This is a great and historic event, and we need to make sure that we are on the side of good people here.
Are you on the side of Bob Seeley or not on this one? Have your say this morning. Register what you have to report on, and we will reflect that throughout the programme today. Bob Seeley, we'll leave it there. Bob's a former MP and a former Army officer. Thank you very much indeed.
Now, at 18 minutes past 7, let's get a check on the weather with Marco Patanga.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here, and still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, something to make you smile this morning, the Great British Giveaway. It's a goodie, £85,000 in tax-free cash up for grabs. Here are all of the details that you need. Oh, look, you can't help but smile, but you can't win, unfortunately. But you can. Here are all the details you need.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, we've got a lot of sport coming up with Paul next. Got to reflect on a weekend of FA Cup action. How did it work out for your team? Not so good for mine. But we'll tell you more after this break.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Here's Paul. We're going to reflect on the FA Cup results first of all. And, you know, the big shock yesterday was Manchester United going out a home match for them.
You think it was a big shock?
Brighton. What?
Do you think it was a big shock?
I don't think it's a big shock. They're playing at home.
Yeah, I know,
They've got
but
a superb record in the FA Cup. Why is it not a big shock?
Because Manchester United these days are not quite the Manchester United they used to be fair, are they?
To Brighton in the FA Cup.
And Brighton are quite a good side. So I don't think, honestly, this is the worry, Eamonn. I don't think it's as big a shock as you think it is.
Well, I think it is a big shock. And I think that,
I'm sorry.
I think
but you're wrong.
That Marcus Welbeck, former United player.
Danny Welbeck, yeah.
Danny Welbeck, forgive me. It's a big day for him.
Yeah, it is, and he grew up playing for Manchester United, didn't he? And it's been a few years since he's played there. But to go out, and I think he scored 7 goals against United over the years. But it is I mean, let's face it, it's a great result for Brighton. It's not good for Manchester United, and they're out of both cups at the first attempt. So there's only going to be 40 games that United are going to play this year. I was thinking 50 years ago, so 1976. Do you remember who won the FA Cup in 1976?
Ooh, good.
Do you remember that?
76.
You played in it. So Manchester United played but did not win the final. But it was a huge surprise.
We did not win the final.
And they were wearing yellow, and it's the only time they've
Southampton.
Southampton. Southampton, that was right. Bobby Stokes scored against Alex Stepney, so that was 50 years ago.
He's dead now.
He is, he is. And I was watching something, and it had some of the players from those days.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to recognise it.
Oh, everybody's thinking, oh, it just seems like yesterday, but it's one of the earliest FA Cups I remember, and it was really hot. I remember that.
Yeah, it was sunny
Peter
day.
Rodriguez, the one that lifted the cup, so a bad day for United.
You know, I just wanted to mention Martin Chivers as well. Who died. I mean, Terry Yorth died last week as well, and just so many big names disappearing.
Yeah, we had to, you know, it's whether it could be commemoration or celebrate his life, but that's what we did at Spurs on Saturday. And for me, because I was such a good friend of Martin's, and I've known him for 20 years, and everybody, and it was such a shock, and it was such a surprise, and nobody expected it because he looked so well, and everybody's going, oh, he looks so well. And then how it's just taken away, and it was emotional because there was a big speech I had to give, and you know when you had this with George Best, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you think, I've got to try and keep this together, but every now and again it would well up, and you think, no, but it was incredibly emotional.
Well, you've done him proud.
I hope so. I don't know whether it's that, but he was. The whole family was there, and all the old players there, and it all had to be arranged very quickly. But it just doesn't seem possible. But a legendary footballer. So anyway, tonight Liverpool versus Barnsley, Salford versus Swindon is next week because that was called off. But it's been a great weekend, I think, over the FA Cup, and we love the FA Cup, and it's good apart from the fact that Spurs are out and Man United are out. Apart from that,
it was a good weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
The athletics, very good. Alicia McColgan, I think we should mention Alicia
because she's been on the show a couple of times, hasn't she, Alicia McColgan?
She's a friend of ours.
She is, and she regained now the European 10K record 10 days after her 3-year-old record was broken. So it was broken just after the start of the year by Belgian Jana van Lent in Nice. How fast do you think she does 10K in? So 10K, what do you think, Ellie? See, it's tricky.
If you could do 100 metres in 10 seconds.
We need Johnny Ball now, don't we?
35 minutes.
Yeah, it's not bad. 30. 30 minutes and 7 seconds. So it was 30 minutes and 19. Then Van Lent did 30 minutes and 10, and then Elise did it in 30 and 7 seconds. So well done, Alicia McColgan, who we must have back on the show to talk about that because she's a friend of ours. I also want to mention, as always, because you better ask me the question, Ellie. Ask me the question.
Where is the Olympic torch today?
Well, the Winter Olympics are not far away now. So let's see where it is. Let's have a look. We're heading to the snow of Sestriere.
Oh, it's getting closer.
Where is that in Aberdeen?
It's very close. It's ski resort and club. By the way, do you know where the name comes from, Eamonn?
No.
Well, I thought you would know because you studied Latin at school, didn't you?
I did. Give me it again.
Ad Petrum Sistriarium, which means, as you know, 60 Roman miles from Turin. That's where the name comes from.
Oh.
Yes. 929 population. It's a beautiful place. Look at that.
Only that's 60 miles from Turin.
Yes. Well, it's actually 150 miles from Turin, so just the Romans didn't quite get it right. But 146 skiable pistes. They had the Tour de France up there, 2,035 feet above sea level. And let's get them ready. So we're heading to the Winter. Look at that. It's a beautiful place. So the Winter Olympics begin at the start of February.
Well, when will the Winter Olympics start?
Yeah, start of February. Yeah.
Oh.
So we're not far away now.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
I hope you can go for us. I think that'd be great.
Well, I am going to go. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do something and I just don't want to get into an accident or anything. I might slip over or something like that.
End up like me.
I know. We could go together. Do you want to play some birthdays?
Let's
do some
birthdays.
Let's play some birthdays. Right, first one. Look, Sir Brendan Foster.
Oh.
Big Bren. Look at that. Legend. Sir Brendan, there he is getting his knighthood recently. Looks very well, Brendan. He's a lovely fella and what a long-distance runner. So he was in his prime, Ellie, early 70s.
Right.
So what would you say? Ran in the 72 Olympics, 76 Olympics as well he ran in. Just retired after that. So how old do you reckon Sir Brendan Foster is? Okay.
I think he's late 70s. Say 77.
78.
Oh,
78, very good, close. Right, this is the man who runs Mercedes F1, Toto Wolff.
Oh.
So Toto Wolff.
Cool name.
How old would you say? And isn't that a great name? Can it be called Toto Wolff? There you go. Not only has he got a great name, but he's rich as well because he sold part of his share in Mercedes for like a gazillion. So how old is Toto Wolff today?
Toto is 58.
Nice. Close.
55.
54.
right?
Still very good.
close, yeah.
Mel C, Sporty Spice, because it's in sports, so we're allowed to do that. Melanie C. Melanie C. How old is she?
Right.
Spice
So
Girl.
not Mel B, Mel C.
Mel C.
51.
51.
56.
51 is good. 52.
Ooh.
And finally, we've got a boxing question. Henry Cooper, the late great Henry Cooper, won the British title for the first... Splash it all over. For the first time, he beat Brian London over 15 rounds. What year was it? First year. It's turning into a question of sport, isn't it?
I think it was...
I feel like Sue Barker right now.
I think it was 64.
64. First time he won the British title. Ellie, you going to have a go at this?
I think it's earlier than that. 1959.
No, I think it's too early.
It's the right answer.
Is it? Oh,
Where did that come from? Very good.
It's somebody's birthday's year. I can't reveal their age on TV.
59.
Yeah.
Henry Cooper. Very good.
Very good.
That's going to keep me amazed for the rest of the day. Very impressed
good.
by
I'm very pleased with that.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Excellent. Right, still to come are the Conservatives calling for a social media ban. Yes, it appears that is. What effect would that take? We've got the Shadow Education Secretary, Laura Trott, up next.
We're also going to be going through the papers with Dawn and Chris, so do stay with us. That's next.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The Snowgate on the A93 at Braemar remains shut because of adverse weather conditions. On the M4 eastbound, expect slow-moving queues between junction 28 at Tredegar Park and junction 24 at Coldra, with delays building. In Kent, the M25 anti-clockwise entry slip at junction 1A has heavy congestion, with delays of around 10 minutes. And on the trains, Great Western Railway reports disruption across various routes, while ScotRail says severe weather is affecting numerous routes this morning. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray,
Are you a human trafficker?
boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say...
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of Dawn Neeson and Chris Sakabusi. Morning, you two.
Yeah, morning.
Chris, let's look at a story really close to your heart. Council putting children in illegal homes. This is the Daily Mail this morning.
Yeah, I was drawn straight to this because of my own experience. So an illegal home is defined as accommodation that's not been registered with Ofsted or have had thorough required safety checks. Now, back in the 60s, yeah, definitely, people used to put cards in windows, post offices, shops, saying, "Kid, please can you look after this kid?" And for me, it's a throwback to that. The council spent £353 million provided unregistered accommodation for 669 kids. And my problem is that the moment you do that, they're in Airbnb, they're in holiday camps, they're in caravans, blah, blah, blah. You don't know who they're next to. And the moment you do that, it's a loophole that can be easily used by predators to get involved with young people. And literally, it's children as young as 10 years of age, 15 years of age. 51% were over the age of 15, while the remainder were mainly children 10 to 15 years of age. And it's quite alarming in this day and age that a council could go back to this level of incompetence. One council that I was involved with has had a thorough investigation now because of what happened to children in its care between 1960 and 1990. And so it's... one is very small in the newspaper. It is actually quite serious to think that this could happen again in the 21st century.
I know. So many sad stories about, so many serious stories about. This is a happy story, Dawn.
Hey, we found one.
In the Times, we have found one. The top dog breeds for looking happy.
Yeah, they're not necessarily happy, but they look happy. German Shepherds and Poodles have the happiest looking faces amongst dogs. This is a new study has found. It's produced a league table of different breeds' facial expressions when they are in a playful mood.
Yeah.
And those two come top. Beagles and Shih Tzus are among the dogs that look least cheerful. Oh. Sorry, well, Beagles, obviously, I mean, they do look quite miserable, don't they, all the time? And as I said, German Shepherds and Poodles are the best. Yeah. The study was conducted to determine how humans domesticating wolves and selectively breeding them into hundreds of different types of dogs has affected their facial expression. So we are to blame for this.
Yeah,
it's not our fault.
But they're also talking about the muscles, the muscle structures within the animal. But the biggest thing for me is the personality. So I've had a variety of dogs, and my most favourite dog, while they say the Rottweiler has got one of the happiest faces, is the Doberman. And I know that Doberman have got a bad image because they have
different reputation.
Because of cropped ears and everything. But they are such affectionate dogs, and their facial expressions, when they're always happy anyway. Unless they fear something, they're always very happy. But it's their mannerisms and the way that they sidle up to you, and then their whine, that they when they want you to cuddle and to kiss and to stroke them, and a Doberman will go away and hide, but then every half an hour check in on you, and then that lovely, are you still happy with me sort of look. So
can you get women like that?
That would be that.
Come and cuddle me.
I'd say a cockapoo is the one that smiles the most, naturally.
Yeah.
They're like teddy bears, aren't they?
They do look like
the
teddy
big fluffy
bears,
ones.
Yeah.
You know, the most grumpy-looking dogs, though, they're the ones with the flat faces, and they are pugs and bulldogs. They just look grumpy all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
Quite like a grumpy dog sometimes, there.
Yeah.
It's the old English bulldog.
Oh, bulldog. It just looks permanently.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they can't breathe properly, or they breathe through their noses.
Yeah, I mean, there is a serious side to the inbreeding thing, but I mean, they do look grumpy.
Dawn, what's caught your eye this morning?
Well, I want to just mention this story. It's the front page of the Times. We're trying to find lighter stories because obviously all the front pages got Iran on them pretty much. So I'm just trying to find some lighter stories. But this one I do want to talk about because MPs are urging the sacking of the police chief in the Maccabi Tel Aviv game. Parliament, there's been the Parliamentary Select Committee going on about how West Midlands Police acted during this by banning the Jewish fans from attending the football match in Birmingham. We now know that West Midlands Police were at least economical with the truth about this, saying it was because Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were violent and aggressive and they'd caused problems in Amsterdam, none of which was true. And we now know that basically Jewish football fans were banned from attending a football match in Birmingham, in the UK, because the police were scared of the local armed Islamists. And I find that absolutely appalling.
Yeah.
I mean, there were lots of stories this weekend about Robert Jenrick saying, are we bowing down to radical Islam? And I think this story, the Tel Aviv story, actually goes to prove that this is happening.
I mean, the optics are that they would rather punish the Israeli fans, keeping them away, banning them from coming, rather than choosing to protect them.
Yeah,
which is what they're there for.
That's exactly what was happening. They lied and blamed the Jewish fans when it was nothing to do with the Jewish fans. It was to do with militant Islamists in Birmingham threatening to attack Jewish fans. I mean, I feel like we've been here before, 1930s Germany, anyone? It's for your own protection. We're putting you in this little place for your own protection. And if you just wear a little yellow star so we know who you are, so we can protect you.
Do you think the chief needs to go? Do you think his position's untenable?
Well, this is what MPs are calling for, and I just think that the fact that they were at the very best economical with the truth, yes, I think it's appalling behaviour.
Chris?
I don't know enough about the story to get involved there, and there's a lot of things that have been said there that I wouldn't want to ride on the back of.
OK. Chris, Dawn, do stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a few moments. Still to come, the Tories are calling for the age on social media to be lifted. We're going to be talking about that with Shadow Education Secretary Laura Trott next.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, here's your latest holiday summer forecast brought to you by the Met Office. On Tuesday, we'll see some unsettled weather across the western Med with some snow across the hills further east. So confirmation then of some outbreaks of rain on Tuesday across the Canaries, Madeira, parts of western Spain and Portugal. Mostly fine, as I say, across the central part of the Med there, certainly for Italy, 1 or 2 showers and some bright spells too, but a risk of snow certainly across the hills of Turkey. As for the coming few days, well, things generally quieten down, but we'll see further rain at times across western parts.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The University of Bristol has been threatened with legal action by a leading academic who led a recent government review into sex and gender data collection.
Well, Professor Alice Sullivan claims her freedom of speech was restricted after a talk she gave was disrupted by a trans rights protest.
Protesters actually scaled the walls of the building. We were in a first-floor lecture theatre, and they climbed the walls in order to bang on the windows and sort of howl through the windows. It felt incredibly surreal in there. It was like some kind of zombie apocalypse. And they were setting off fire alarms to very loudly disrupt my talk. Eventually, we had to all move to another lecture theatre. And I learned afterwards that people trying to attend the talk had been severely disrupted by protesters who were not asked to stand behind barriers or anything like that. They were just allowed to intimidate and obstruct people who had come to hear me speak.
It sounds like a fairly severe dereliction of duty on behalf of the university. I mean, obviously everyone has a right to protest anything, and you'd think at a university anyone would have a right to give a talk, and yet there is this sort of heckler's veto that some try to play to try and keep out ideas with which they disagree. I mean, it seems to just go against the fundamental ethos of what higher education should be in this country.
That's absolutely right. I mean, I fully support people's right to peaceful protest, but this was not a peaceful protest. It was really quite violent.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
on air.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers with Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi. And Dawn, what's just caught your eye? We're having a good conversation here in the
We were having, and we wanted to talk about a story on the front of the Telegraph or the Times, I can't remember which one it was now, about little kids who don't speak. And because they are spending so much time, we're talking little kids on screens.
Yeah.
So they're literally forgetting how to... So they're turning up at preschool and school with the verbal levels that they, you know, that babies have.
Yeah.
They literally are non-verbal.
What are we doing to these children?
Well,
What a
exactly,
society.
Eamonn. And what are we doing? What are their parents doing? Why aren't they talking to their children? Why relying on teachers to do everything a parent should be doing?
Look back at your childhood and someone said, get a pair of shorts on, go and run around that track, take on, 5 other people, whatever.
Yeah.
You interacted with people. I mean, you can all think of examples, but it really frightens me now just how we say, shut up, look at that screen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, my children are a little bit older now, 18 and 14. That's my second bunch of children. I've not got too old, much older. But I have experienced, obviously, them going through this sort of generation where they're connected to their iPads and their screens. And I know that initially it's quite intoxicating because it's all available. The children understand it. They are engaged. And like we might have watched a TV programme and cartoons when they're actually on their own devices, going their own way. They develop their own fan base. I remember my daughter, when she was 4, seeing my screen in the car and trying to move it because she'd already got used to doing that on her pad.
Yes.
And so I can see the intoxication, and we didn't realise then actually how damaging this is. And so what you said now about, OK, but now we're getting a generation of kids who actually are non-verbal. They've lost the social interactive skills that we experience as kids.
Would you be in favour of what we're going to talk to Laura Trott about after 8 o'clock this morning, that you need to limit what they have access to?
Now, having gone through it, I would, because I can see the effect that it's had on children of like that demographic, 14, 16, where they are so bright and agile. But then there's another argument that they are going into a world that I know not, because the world that they're going into is going to be digital, it's going to be AI, and so many other things that have not yet happened. So maybe they're prepared for a world that you and I don't understand and might not even see.
They're not speaking. I mean, I've got a close family member who's a speech and language therapist, and she says she is alarmed by the number of children who are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old sometimes who are non-verbal.
Yeah,
who've just been sat in front
absolutely.
of a tablet. And the other thing is, where the parents are so addicted to tablets and phones, the parents aren't speaking to them, and children are like sponges, and most of their speech is picked up by being spoken to. They're not being spoken to.
They are being spoken to, but they're being spoken to by their tribe that they're connected to. So their language and their culture is dictated by the rabbit hole they've gone down, and young people will go down their own particular rabbit hole. It may be good, it may be bad. I know one story where a kid was confronted with a barbaric event by other kids showing the tribe that they were in down their portal. So that's the problem, is when you start sharing images, and youngsters know how to do that better than anybody. So
would you be in favour of this ban, this under-16 ban?
It's a tricky one. I'm on the whole against banning most things, because I think as soon as you ban something, something else pops up that's often far worse. I think the social media companies themselves have a lot of responsibility to take in this. I think parents have a lot of responsibility to take, and I don't wash with the fact that, parents are out of work, they haven't got time. If you're a parent, if you've got a kid, you look after that kid, you make sure that kid has been brought up properly. I think, we make excuses for bad parenting, and we expect teachers now to take on the role of parents, and I think that is where we're going wrong with a lot of these children.
Although we've always had another group take care. I mean, when we were 150 years, nannies were all the rage, and in Victorian, people who went to work or had their own society had their nannies doing stuff, and this is the de facto nanny for a certain demographic of people. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that we've always deferred an aspect of our parenting to another person while while we get on with whatever it is we're
My
doing.
parents both worked, and we still managed to speak. We still managed to talk. We still managed to clean our own teeth. We still managed to actually not need to wear nappies when we were 4 or 5 years old. So, and we didn't have a nanny either, by the way. Just in case anyone was going to ask.
No, neither did I.
Should we just briefly look at Nightingale?
Yes,
Singing.
yes, exactly. Well, basically, there's a plethora, an explosion of wildlife. Oh, thank you very much. Look at her. Check out. Oh, Ellie's got eyes. Yeah, but they're singing their hearts out. It's a great rewilding on an estate in Sussex, and it's going. But not even in Sussex, even in my own back garden, I've got a beautiful array of birds that are coming because a lot of people have got food trays and a regular source of food. But also, the one problem you've got though is that when you populate your garden with all these beautiful birds, you then also encourage the birds of prey. So like the sparrowhawk. So yeah, I know it's a circle of life, but that's the thing. All of a sudden, the birds are also going to feast. Sparrowhawk.
That's not a sparrowhawk. That's a terrorhawk. That is. Chris, Dawn, thank you very much indeed. Here's the weather update.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across our social media platforms. We're truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The Snowgate on the A93 at Braemar remains closed in poor weather. On the M4 eastbound, allow extra time between junction 28 at Tredegar Park and junction 24 at Coldra due to congestion. Northamptonshire's M1 southbound exit slip at junction 40 has a broken down vehicle blocking one lane, with conditions improving after 8 o'clock this morning. The M6 southbound is slow between junction 11 and junction 10, with delays of around 10 minutes, easing after 8:15. And on the trains, Gatwick Express services face disruption at Redhill, and Great Western Railway has disruption across various routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British Airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Mass unrest continues to sweep through Iran as the death toll surpasses 500.
Sir Keir Starmer is facing calls to prescribe Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist group as protesters demonstrate in London.
President Trump has said he's considering very strong military options against Iran as the protest death toll climbs.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Multiple people have been injured as a lorry has rammed into a crowd at an anti-Iran protest in Los Angeles.
After months of mounting pressure, British farmers are taking direct action against a broken supply chain. They threaten the future of British food production. Your views on this, very welcome.
Farmers have been blockading this distribution centre in Peterborough since 4 a.m. this morning. Similar protests are going on around the country. GB News is live exclusively at them.
Former heads of the British Armed Forces are making a last-ditch rallying cry to scrap the handover of the Chagos Islands. It's ahead of the decisive vote in Parliament later on today.
And sport this morning, the most FA Cup third-round goals were scored over the weekend for 70 years. More expected tonight as Liverpool will be playing Barnsley. We expect lots of goals from Barnsley. Sixth tier, Macclesfield, who knocked out Crystal Palace, the holders. We'll find out their fourth-round opponents this evening in the fourth-round draw. And Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz have arrived in Melbourne for the Australian Open. And they might as well just cancel it and just put those two straight into the final and be done with it.
Hello, good morning. We've got a much milder day in store across the UK than of late, but we do hold on to pretty unsettled weather conditions, particularly towards the northwest today. Very blustery winds here, especially through the morning. I'll have all the details later.
It's just gone a couple of minutes past 8 o'clock. Thank you for your company this morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Let's start with our top story. Hundreds of people have been killed in protests in Iran. Sam Francis has got all the details for us.
Yeah, good morning, both of you. Well, the latest that we know so far in Iran is the death toll is clearly still rising as the regime there continues its brutal crackdown on protests that have been spreading across the country from city to city and growing in strength and significance in recent weeks. All really as part of a call against the supreme leader there and calls for the end of his regime. Here are just some of the pictures that we've seen coming into us in recent days of scenes on the streets. Well, the latest we know on that death toll is at least 544 people killed. Another 10,000 people also arrested in protests that are now really aimed squarely at the supreme leader himself, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In London, demonstrations also back outside the Iranian embassy over the weekend, and for the second day running, the flag that hangs outside that building pulled down. Sir Keir Starmer now under pressure from MPs and other opposition groups to ban Iran's Revolutionary Guard. They are seen as responsible for the protests that are taking place. And in Washington, Donald Trump saying that Iran is ready to negotiate, but that he isn't willing just yet to rule out military action.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Well, right now, getting the full picture from the situation on the ground in Iran is quite difficult, as there is a widespread internet blackout and phone lines have been cut, all in an attempt from the regime to stop any incriminating evidence of shootings and deaths from getting out. What we do know now, though, is that every shot that is fired, every chant, every flag that is waved really could turn this situation into something much, much bigger.
Right, we're now going to talk about this under 16-year-old social media ban, which has gone ahead in Australia. If the Conservatives win the next election, they'll say they'll be behind it. They'll do that. Party leader Kemi Badenoch said they would raise the age of consent to protect children from harmful content online.
Well, it comes after, as Eamonn was saying, Australia implemented a similar measure last month. Let's speak now to Shadow Education Secretary Laura Trott, who joins us now. Good to see you this morning, Laura. So it's an Australia-style ban. Good morning. How would it be enforced? Surely any child could just lie about their age and still access these social media sites.
So the principle of this is that we've sleptwalked into a situation where young people are addicted to their screens without anyone really questioning whether it's good for them or not. And we now know emphatically that it is really not. And so we need to take action. Australia have started on this process. Now, it's important to say that no ban will ever be perfect. We know that's true of a ban on children drinking alcohol, right? People do access it from under 18, but it's important to have that symbol in place that it is bad for young people. And that is exactly what we want to do with social media.
What sort of stuff, Laura, would you consider banning? I mean, how would this work? How would you actually, I don't know, put a curtain around what you don't want them to see?
So what it's about is actually saying that under 16 should not be on social media platforms, Eamonn. So it will be an expectation on the tech companies to take these children off their platforms. And this would mean that speech would not be policed on those platforms for children because they shouldn't be on there. And we think that's a really clear message to send. Again, as I emphasise, this will not be perfect, but it's a start of a societal shift that we need to make to show that social media and screens are not safe for children. And this isn't a hypothetical discussion, by the way. There is a schools bill going through the Houses of Parliament at the moment where Lord Nash has laid down an amendment that we are backing that will do exactly this. We've also got amendments bound to ban smartphones in the classrooms and stop children doing so much homework on screens. Because parents listening to this right now are crying out for help, and we want to provide that help to them.
Would a ban include messaging services like WhatsApp?
No, there are issues with WhatsApp which parents will be able to tell you, but WhatsApp is person to person, it's messaging, it's used in a lot of families for communication. We do get that, so this would not include WhatsApp.
What about the calls at the moment to ban X as a platform? This is about its AI tool Grok, which has been used to manipulate photos of women and children and undress them against, obviously, their consent and put them out on social media. Do you think that X needs to be banned as a platform?
No, I don't. But there is obviously a huge issue around AI-generated imagery, children's sexual abuse imagery, and this is going to be a problem with AI across the board, which we do need regulation for. We did some of that when we were in government. I believe the government is going to bring forward some more legislation on this, and that will be really important because we need to make sure that these tools are safe for women and children.
Yeah. Our top story today is, of course, about the situation in Iran and reports that 500 protesters have been killed in the country. What's the Conservatives' response to the situation that we're seeing in Iran? And does the IRGC need to be prescribed now as a terror group?
These people in Iran are so incredibly brave. I don't think we can truly understand how despotic and how brutal the regime that governs Iran is. And for individual citizens who are unarmed to stand up to them is an act of unbelievable bravery and one that we should support. In terms of prescribing the IRGC, this is something where obviously they are a terrorist group. There may be diplomatic reasons why the government want to maintain ties, but that is for the government to set out and justify.
And finally, just before you leave you today, we've been hearing from our reporters today of farmers' blockade in Peterborough. They are protesting over a number of things, but they're very concerned about the prices of things like fertiliser going up, whereas their prices are obviously being squeezed. They want more financial security from the government. They want more financial security from the supermarkets as well. They're making their voices heard. Do the Conservatives support them?
We are on the side of farmers. This government hates the countryside. It's doing all it can to make it difficult for them to produce food, to stock our supermarket shelves, to keep us healthy, to keep the environment safe. And what we have seen consistently is them acting against the interests of farmers. We will always be on the side of farmers. We've made some progress in terms of overturning the inheritance tax changes. It doesn't go far enough. We will not stop until we see an overturning of these inheritance tax changes, and we will always act on the side of farmers.
Laura Trott, thank you for your time today. Laura's had her say what she wants to do. Not at all, thank you. Laura's had her say about what to do with the internet and social media if you're under 16 years of age. Please do have your say on this. Register what you have to say, and we will reflect that on the programme. So let's get back to that situation about this farmer protest today. Loaded lorries are prevented from entering or leaving the sites, these supermarket sites and depots, while empty vehicles and supermarket staff arrive for work are allowed through.
Well, our national reporter Jack Carson is there for us. Morning to you, Jack.
Yeah, good morning to you. Of course, we've been here since these protests started around 4 a.m. this morning. Now into the early hours of the morning, the impact is really being felt with the lorries now starting to back up well onto the main road. We're also hearing that in Hinckley, one of the other locations where this blockade is taking place, riot police vans have turned up to try and move protesters on because lorries are backing up all the way down the A1. So it's having the disruption that these farmers wanted. Tom Stamp is one of the farmers who's here at the distribution centre where we are in Peterborough. Why take this direct action when other protests have happened, you know, parking the tractors down on Whitehall in the past year? Why change that and have some more direct action like you're doing this morning?
Yeah, well, I suppose it was IHT that initially brought us together, but there's so many more issues in farming at the minute that our businesses just basically aren't profitable at the minute. The commodity prices have completely been left behind with the rate of inflation of what we're paying for fertiliser, seed, the tractors, and we just do not have the profitability to move our businesses forward anymore. So we're just trying to drum up some attention to raise those issues.
Now the government were announcing different schemes. At the Oxford Farming Conference, SFI, Sustainable Farming Incentive, they're being opened again this year. There's some more kind of certainty, the government say, in terms of no sudden closures, in terms of a fairer amount of money. Do you think incentives like that, as well as what the government will say will be changing the thresholds on inheritance tax as they did before Christmas, do you think that's going to make a difference?
It was definitely a start. They can definitely do more. I mean, it's got a lot of small farms out of the issue, but you know, now we're campaigning for no farms to be left behind. It raises an even small amount now of 300 million. It's to the point where it's doing more harm than it is good. It just won't generate the money it's going to generate. It's such a small amount.
And tell us about, you know, you as a farmer. What do you farm? Where do you farm? And what really is the impact, you know, of all these changes to policy having on you?
Yes, so we're arable farmers. So the main crop we grow is wheat. The wheat price is about 170. As a business, we're just stood still. There's just no profit in.
We can hear some of the noise that you guys are making. What do you say to people who might think this is too far, blocking?
Very sorry, we're having technical issues there with the sound from Jack Carson's report. Speaking to a farmer there in Peterborough, but they are making their voices and their horns heard this morning, aren't they?
They certainly are, and letting it be known. Would you do that job? Could you do it on the money that they're doing and investing in the machinery that they have to invest in? I mean, some of those lorries are talking about 150,000 quid, but they need those to make the whole business work. And I put it to you, I know we'll criticise politicians straight away. We're all for that. That's fine. Because this is another area that they just don't understand. They don't understand farming. They don't understand what they're doing with the taxation around the job. But when it's gone, we will miss it. Yeah. So I think that's fine. But also we've got to criticise and put pressure on supermarkets who make millions and millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions, from food production in this country, and then worse, food production that's not in this country, which undermines food production in this company. So have your say on all of that. Get in touch with us. I don't think we've been putting have your say up on screen today.
GB News. So GB News at gbviews.com.
Yeah.
No, that's the old one.
And we'll reflect those. Now, the other thing you've got to do if you're a farmer is to deal with the weather out there, the weather situation. What's it doing today? Marco Batenga will tell you.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, something to make you smile today. The Great British Giveaway. It's a goodie, £85,000 in tax-free cash up for grabs. Here are all of the details that you need.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
New research has uncovered why ownership is becoming a source of stress for thousands of lodge and caravan owners. So if you're thinking of buying one, investing in one, or maybe you already have one, location star Phil Spencer will be talking to us about his views on all of this right after this short break.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Patrick Christie's Tonight. Weekdays from 9 p.m.
Look, this is winter. It's flu. Flu comes in winter. Sure as eggs is eggs. There's nothing particularly special about the virus. It has mutated, but that change has made it able to spread through the community by defeating our existing immunity. But the virus itself remains the same in terms of its clinical impact. So while it's a problem at a community and population level, lots of cases, for people who catch this, it's no worse than normal seasonal flu. It's not like we've got a supercharged flu that makes people much iller. We've got a virus that's spreading better and it's come earlier. So we're seeing it rising up the sort of infectious disease rates faster for this time of year. And there are a number of reasons for that, partly because it is a different virus, it's mutated. We haven't seen this particular strain spread for a couple of years. So population immunity levels are quite low. That's why it's
so what you said there, very calm, very rational, quite reassuring, to be honest with you, seems very logical, understandable. Earlier today, the BBC decided to do a report that looked a lot like this. Let's play the clip.
The throwback, isn't it? We were used to wearing these a few years ago. Now this is the precaution being taken. Also, people are being told to make sure their hands are clean and that they're not bringing germs into the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we haven't got time to play it all, but she goes on to, like, you know, use the hand sanitizer. Again, I'm just wondering if it's a little bit fear-mongery.
Well, look, we must take flu seriously because it's a fact that if we tot up the excess mortality in the wintertime, just in the UK, and we attribute a lot of this excess mortality to flu, in an average year, maybe 5,000-6,000 people will lose their lives to flu. And in a bad year, it might be as high as 20,000. So we don't take this lightly. We're not complacent about flu.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Well, new research has uncovered why ownership is becoming a source of stress for thousands of lodge and caravan owners across the country. Hidden costs, steeply rising site fees and restrictive resale rules are leaving many people facing unexpected losses and feeling trapped by all of this.
Yeah, well, as confidence in the system continues to erode, a new consumer-first resale platform is being launched to put profit ahead of people.
OK, joining us now, the man with the most calming, beautiful, lovely, seductive voice on television, property expert Phil Spencer. Philip, good morning to you.
Good morning, Eamonn. And coming from a man with your lovely voice, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
You're very kind. I'd rather have the looks than the voice, but anyway. There we go. So, Phil, what do you mean about a resale platform? And who would this affect? What sort of caravans are we talking about, or mobile homes? Or this is a very wide sort of explanation of all of this.
Well, at the moment, it's an unregulated industry, and it's extremely difficult if you are an owner of a lodge or an on-site caravan to access a market. When it comes to the time to sell, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get an open market. And so many of them are being forced to sell back to the operators of the parks, and usually at a massive discount. So not only are people facing unexpected costs during the time that they own it, when it comes to sell it, that becomes extraordinarily difficult for them. So what we're doing with this new platform launching today, Lodges and Caravans for Sale, it is the first of its kind, and it will enable people to reach an open market, and it gives transparency where there isn't transparency at the moment.
Yeah,
it's a murky world.
I see what you mean, that you often have to sell back to the park owners and things. And I have to say, I'm so impressed by a lot of these homes because they're more, once you're inside, you could be in a, £5 million luxury apartment sometimes. But I mean, they're much more fragile than that and whatever, but they are really, there's much more to them than meets the eye, these homes.
Yeah, there's I think there's about 450,000 of them across the country. So this isn't a niche market, but because it's unregulated, there's a lot of people in difficult circumstances out there, and there's no real need for that.
And it's difficult for people, isn't it? Because they're sold a dream, they're sold this holiday home, they're sold this place to go and relax, and then they're trapped. And it started with some nice glossy marketing, and they didn't actually fully understand, I suppose, what they were getting themselves in for.
I think that's the real issue. That's kind of the heart of it, is that people aren't aware of what the costs are what costs they're likely to face during the time that they own it. And then, of course, when it comes to selling it, that's a different story as well. So, yeah, it's what we're trying to do is tidy that up. It's
standing in your way, Phil. Why can you not just do this as a matter of course?
Well, it's not been done before. That's why we're launching it. If you like to give a kind of simile, it's the Zoopla or the Rightmove platform for lodges and caravans. So it's somewhere where both buyers and sellers can go and get a full access to market.
I think it's a whole area that people haven't really thought about exploiting before, because surely, Phil, the value for money, if you can get one of these, sell it at the right price, you're going to live at you're going to be able to have a property that is it's not costing you what other properties would be costing you. I mean, tell us about that whole value for money situation, and if these sort of homes are catching on.
I think since COVID, they've absolutely caught on. A lot more people enjoying staycations, and as you very rightly say, I mean, they're seriously comfortable. They're very, very smart, some of them.
Yeah.
I've stayed in a few of them, and yeah, as you wouldn't, you could be in a really smart flat. And people are able to use them as second homes, holiday homes, rent them out. But I would say that they're not investments, because they do cost money, and they do get older. They don't improve with time. So people need to be kind of conscious of what they're getting into. But I think value for money in areas you could have a beautiful lodge on a lake or up a mountain or on a river or by the sea. A second home, a proper house in that location would cost you, I don't know, 10 times. So the ability to stay in a beautiful place at that kind of price level is very attractive.
Well, I stayed in one over Christmas, so I did, a lodge, and honestly, it had a fire, with the flames, electric
fireplace, yeah.
Yeah, it had radiators around the place, it had a massive TV screen in it. It was the business, Phil.
I think when people get inside, they are genuinely surprised at how comfortable they are. And most of them are in such beautiful places.
Yeah.
But the challenge is understanding the costs of ownership and accepting the challenges at the moment of selling them. But that's what we're trying to put right today.
Is there an average price, Phil, that you would have to be prepared to lose? A lot of people aren't expecting to lose anything, but would you go and you'd say you lose half your investment or a third of your investment or whatever?
Well, at the moment, I think people are being forced to sell. When it comes to the time to sell, they are being forced to sell back to the operators at massively discounted prices. So that's the real pinch. And they're perhaps not understanding the site fees as well, because they can change. What I'm trying to put right is actually give the owners some protection and give the whole market some transparency, so they don't lose money, or at least they get access to kind of an open market value, because people can see it at the moment. Where do you advertise them? Where do you sell them? It's very difficult.
Well, very important message, very important warning as well, Phil. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and good luck with the launch.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you both.
Good to see you. Good to hear you. Thank you very much indeed, Phil Spencer there. I think these things are just. I think they're underestimated by so many people, and they are catching on.
Oh, absolutely. But people have got to be careful, because if you get caught out by the fees and these hidden costs, it could become a nightmare, couldn't it?
Well, good luck to Phil and what he's trying to do around that front. If you've got I don't know what you call them. Do you call them a mobile home or
caravan or a lodge or a static home?
Yeah. If you've got one, or you use one, or you've got anything to say about this, good idea, bad idea, let us know.
gbnews.com/you'll say.
And your car, and if you're out and about travelling, here's what it's doing out there.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A9 is closed both ways at Blair Athol due to flooding. On the M4 eastbound, expect slow-moving traffic between junction 28 at Tredegar Park and junction 24 at Coldra. In Solihull, the M6 northbound has a broken-down vehicle between junction 4 and junction 6, with one lane shut, expected to clear by around 9 this morning. In Hertfordshire, the M25 clockwise has a crash between junction 18 and junction 20, with one lane closed, also easing by about 9. And on the trains, Gatwick Express has major disruption at Redhill, and Southern has delays between Chichester and Havant, plus disruption at Redhill. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Right, next we're going to be talking about murders in London and how London compares to the rest of the world. The police here will say, actually, we're not doing too bad. We've hit a record low. Speaking to Sir Mark Rowley, the boss man of the police, next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Now, here's some interesting news. Hopefully, this is good news. London has recorded the lowest number of murders in more than a decade. This is the Metropolitan Police saying this. So these are the lowest number of homicides. And the Met say there were 97 killings in the capital last year. Now, that's down 11% compared to 2024 figure of 109. The latest numbers are the lowest recorded since 2014, when there were 95 homicides.
Well, let's speak now to the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. Very pleased to say that Sir Mark Rowley joins us on the programme this morning. Good to see you this morning, Sir Mark. And this is good news, isn't it? London recording the lowest number of homicides in more than a decade. Obviously, fewer people being killed on London streets is a good thing. How then do you explain why so many people, particularly women, feel more unsafe on London streets now than ever?
This is fantastic news, isn't it? And of course, every case is a tragedy, and we do an amazing job supporting the families in those moments, and we solve 95% of those cases. I think we should just dwell on the fact that London is comparatively safe globally as well. There are cities like Paris or Milan or Toronto, their homicide rates are half as big again. Cities like New York or Brussels or Berlin are 3 times our rate. That's because of the fantastic work we've done targeting the most dangerous criminals, such as the gangs that use weapons. We've seized more firearms and more knives. It's also down to the work that we do to target the men who pose the most danger to women and children. And that's increasing everyone's safety on the streets of London. And I hear the tone in your question and the issues behind it. But also I'd point out the vast majority of Londoners, a YouGov survey puts over 80% of Londoners feel safe in London. And I think people are noticing, before Christmas we saw increased footfall on the streets of the West End. That's because of the work we're doing to make people feel safer. So I know there's a lot of questions out there about safety of London, but I think the facts are really clear.
What's not clear, Sir Mark, is how are the people who are dying being killed?
There's a range of types of homicide. Some of this is to do with gang disputes. Some of it is sort of fallouts amongst thieves. There's issues to do with mental health in there, and there's also about 15, I think, intimate partner violence cases between intimate partners, and that's why we're targeting the most dangerous men who are repeat offenders in terms of domestic violence or stalking, and throwing everything we can at them to protect women and children from them.
Well, it is fascinating when you talk about targeting men. I mean, so presumably we take it for granted that men are the killers. If you're going to be killed by someone, it's going to be a man. And who's likely to be killed? So people like Ellie and me will be watching the telly or listening to the radio today, and we'll be saying, is this going to happen to me? Should I be overly concerned about walking the streets of London?
No, you shouldn't. Nobody should be overly concerned about walking the streets of London. London is a safe city. I say a big proportion of homicide is amongst crime gangs, but some does affect other people, and that's what we're tackling, and that's why this is such good news that the lowest per capita homicide rate London has ever seen in the biggest London. That's fantastic, fantastic news, because the brilliant men and women of the Met, we're bearing down on, targeting the most dangerous, arresting 1,000 people more a month, using new technologies like facial recognition to get more criminals off the street. That's what making London safer.
You want Londoners to feel safe. We've heard so much about these monsters in the Metropolitan Police, Wayne Couzens, David Carrick, Cliff Mitchell, just to name but a few. You would have seen those details last week. 5,000 officers not properly vetted between 2018 and 2022. A news story today revealing that 2 sex offenders and 300 staff with a criminal record are still on the Metropolitan Police payroll. Why, when you have pledged to crack down on bad apples, do we have 2 sex offenders and 300 criminals is still in their jobs in the Metropolitan Police?
So that report that was published last week was one that I commissioned. The work we've been doing to bear down on standards, we've removed more than 1,500 men and women from the Met in the last 3 years for standards-related issues. That's more than triple the rate before. We're the most vigorous, most serious you could possibly be on these issues. That data is a moment in time. Some of those cases in there will be people who are currently going through vetting systems. Others will be minor offences. We'll have people who when they're 14, got cautioned for a minor offence, and then they join the police when they're 25 or 30. So there's a range of different factors in there, but the public can be assured we're being as robust and vigorous as is possible to make sure that we have the integrity in the organisation. The thing I'm most proud of is all the people being removed from the Met. That's not about me and a few senior people doing it. A lot of that is about the good men and women of the Met who care about Londoners, the ones who are going out protecting victims day in and day out. They want a safe Met, and they're giving more information, which is helping us deal with the colleagues who shouldn't be in the organisation. That's why we're being so successful, and that's why trust in the Metropolitan Police is growing.
Perception, Sir Mark. I know you do a lot on all fronts, and you work very, very hard. But what about phone theft? It seems to be prolific. If it's not, people have the impression that it is, and often people will feel very violated if their phone is snatched or if they're mugged and someone's trying to get their phone. What would you say about phone theft and what people can do to protect themselves, and should they be protecting themselves in London?
So phone theft is a really important issue for us in London, isn't it? What it means to people, as you say, Eamonn, is enormous. We had a case recently where we managed to recover a phone shortly after it was stolen. It belonged to a doctor, and he was really worried about his ability to be on call and serve his patients without his phone. And that's just a very powerful example. We've turned the corner in the last year. So since April last year, this financial year, phone theft is now down by 15%. We're doing that through two things. We're arresting the people off the street, the people doing the thieving, but also there's international organised crime exporting phones across the world, particularly to China, and we're intercepting those gangs and putting them in prison for organised crime offences. We're also asking the phone companies to do more to improve the security so that your stolen phone can't be recycled and used again as new, because that's really important. I think Londoners, we all need to be sort of sensible in terms of our own physical precautions, but I'm not asking people to go out on the streets of London feeling safe. And as I think I mentioned earlier, the fact that we had more footfall in the West End leading up to Christmas shows people are feeling safer in London, and that's fantastic news.
OK, so Mark, just before we let you go, the Metropolitan Police have been accused of two-tier policing, especially when it comes to the policing of protests. We've seen anti-Iranian protests, pro-Iranian protests over the weekend as well in London. How will you be policing the Iranian protests?
So we police protest without fear or favour, under the law as Parliament's created it. We can't make up laws, we have to do it under those laws. I think what I've seen over the last few years is the most challenging period of protest ever. And our command teams who are making the decisions and the officers on the streets, it is routine now for one side of the argument to say you were too lenient on that group, and the supporters of that group saying you were too harsh on them. We're constantly criticised from both sides because we're the people on the street dealing with tension and trying to manage that tension and deal with illegal behaviour. So, for example, there was a protest over the weekend outside a restaurant, and we've made an arrest there, and we're looking to the CPS as whether we can prosecute somebody for incitement for racial hatred from that offence. So we'll keep doing those sort of things. We'll keep intervening when people break the law, and trying to find that balance between freedom of speech, which I know is really important to people, and your ability to express your opinion, but also balancing that with not doing it in a way which intimidates or affects the rights of others.
Well, good luck with all you have to do. Good luck in your work there to you and all your officers. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us this morning, Sir Mark.
Thank you, Smart
very
Rowley.
much indeed.
Thank you, Eamonn.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Take care. Bye.
So, with that, we'll take a break, and we're back, and we're talking about sausage rolls and Cornish pasties and jam donuts and all sorts of things.
All the good things.
Oh, very good. Well, don't know if they're good, but they're certainly tasty.
They taste good.
In Greggs, they're for sale in Greggs, and a lot of people who are customers are Greggs are not happy about the price increase. And why are they not happy?
Well, apparently it's all related to fat loss jabs. That's to blame for the price increase. We're going to find out more with Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi next as we go through the papers. Morning, you two. Chat to you in just a second. That's after the European weather.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast. Hello, here's your latest holiday sun forecast brought to you by the Met Office. On Tuesday, we'll see some unsettled weather across the western Med with some snow across the hills further east. So confirmation then of some outbreaks of rain on Tuesday across the Canaries, Madeira, parts of western Spain and Portugal. Mostly fine, as I say, across the central part of the Med there, certainly for Italy, 1 or 2 showers and some bright spells too, but a risk of snow certainly across the hills of Turkey. As for the coming few days, well, things generally quieten down, but we'll see further rain at times across western parts.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the
unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, you're absolutely right. Spot on. I couldn't help feeling that perhaps it was actually just a joke, and they were going to come back in 2 years' time and say, we took you all in. It was, in fact, a joke. Now we're going to produce something more serious, because it's absolutely hilarious and ridiculous. Commercial suicide, I described it as.
Well, the individual behind it is no more. What would you like to see from the brand? Presumably not people with asymmetric haircuts in pink dresses with sledgehammers doing precisely zero to do with cars.
Well, again, absolutely, you're spot on. I mean, it's just totally unrelated to cars at all. There wasn't even a car in the advert. Jaguar was built on style, and that brought passion for cars. That's what made them different. I remember many years ago, a Jaguar executive in the States saying to me, people say, I like my Mercedes, but I love my Jaguar. It's all about passion. Style engendered that. That's what we've got to have. We need to see a proper, more traditional, stylish, real Jaguar that can build on the brand and the heritage of the past.
OK, Philip Paulson, I'm going to put you on the spot now. If you're in charge of the next Jaguar advert, what would it look like?
As diametrically opposite and different as it possibly could be from what they produced. I suppose, I mean, I live a little in the past, I admit, although I also think I'm hopefully realistic about the current situation and everything, the present. But I'd like to see the heritage shown. Jaguar were not afraid to talk in the past about their heritage, the Le Mans wins back in the 50s, the E-Type in the 60s. This is what added excitement and luster to the brand.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
We're back, we're going through the papers in the company of Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi. Morning, you two.
Morning. Morning.
Dawn, who ate all the pies?
Well, absolutely, yes. Greg lovers are fuming as the price of pies is going up. And Greggs are blaming the fact that they're putting the price up because they need to sell more, because we're not eating enough because we're all on fat jabs, evidently.
Fewer people are eating sausage rolls?
Exactly. We're not eating as many pies as we should be because of the fat jabs. That's why they've had to put their price up. And I don't believe a word of it, to be honest with you.
Exactly. It's what I referred to in the very first sitting this morning, is that Greg is part of this retail strategy that retailers are going into, where they are pushing price points up and seeing at what stage will consumers rebel. Yeah, exactly. At the moment, we're not doing it. We are actually matching it way above the price of inflation. CPI, RPI, doesn't really matter. It says here that the pie, or the sausage roll here, has gone up 30% since 2022. That's after the pandemic. 30%. You know, and I was saying to Dawn earlier on when we were in the green room, is that, you know, I'm not really checking my bill, and you know, I might go to buy something for this evening, but then all of a sudden you think, 25 quid? What have I spent 25 quid on?
Yeah.
And then you realise what used to be 15 quid is now 25 quid. And until we stop buying it, they won't come back into play.
But Dawn, interesting, this is a very difficult month. January, traditionally difficult, but it's doubly difficult because a lot of people were paid early in December and they've run out of money, and or they're going to run out of money very soon. And where are you likely, what part of the country are you more likely to run out of money first?
This is going to be in Yorkshire, where you run out of money first. And the skintiest date, January the 21st, 2026, is particularly the earliest date in 5 years that many British workers will exhaust their monthly funds.
And it's only the 12th.
I know.
Still got a lot of January left to go.
There's a lot of January left to do, but the thing is, this date is getting earlier and earlier in the year. I mean, it's the 21st of January this year. Next year, it's predicted to be sort of like the 19th of January.
We're all squeezed.
We are very, very financially squeezed. And obviously, you can say, oh, we all spent too much money over Christmas. I don't think it is that we've spent too much. I think, as Chris has said in the other story we were talking about, I think everything is more expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff you don't even notice to buy. I mean, so you can buy a soft drink and it's like, it's £1.50, and the next week it's like £1.70 because it's only 20p. You think, oh, I don't really notice it. But we should be angry about it.
Adds up.
We should be angry. So I don't think it's that we all went mad over Christmas. I just think everything is just sneaking upwards in price.
I mean, I saw in another, this is a week ago, I won't name the retailer, but one retailer that had made a couple of billion increase on its profit margin in the last year in a cost of living crisis, and it's because of this strategy.
That's immoral.
100%. 100%.
I mean, we're following farmers' protests today. No one checks up on the supermarkets, the profit the supermarkets, and they all turn in profit. None of them are turning in losses. And the amount is absolutely staggering.
Year on year, billions of increase on their profit margin. Billions, not millions, billions of increase on the profit margin. And like you said, you've got a farmer who's been asked to shave more and more
off a pint of milk.
Well, part of their protest today is calling for support from the government, but also the supermarkets. The thing is with the supermarkets, it alludes to what you were talking about earlier, Dawn, it's a captive audience. People need a basket full of groceries. People need to eat, so they're going to go into that supermarket and just pay what they need to pay.
Yeah, exactly. Do we rebel? Do we go on strike and stop eating? I mean, of course we don't. I mean, people are still going to go into Greggs and buy things.
Well, you've got to look at whether it's a cartel. I mean, break up the cartel. Then it needs to be a competitive industry where this retailer undercuts that one.
Well, we do offer our condolences if you live in Yorkshire today, because you're going to run out of money in about 10 days' time. That's it. But a lot of the blame's been put on the doorstep of Ozempic. Are there really that many people taking Ozempic, and therefore they're not spending their money on food?
What is it, 2.9 million of it, I think, are on not just Ozempic, but Wegovy and all the other slimming drugs. I mean, a lot of people are taking it. A lot of people are, we don't even know how many exactly, because people are buying it privately online, so that's not even logged on.
Yeah, but I'm not taking it, and I don't know anyone. I'm sure people are taking it, obviously, this way, but I don't know anyone personally.
I do. I know quite a few people,
Do you?
Some because they are type 2 diabetic, so legitimately need to be taking it. But I also know women, mainly it has to be said women, who literally want a bikini body.
Listen, thanks, guys. Thank you very much indeed
Thanks for your company
today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us know what you think of any of those stories. gbnews.com/you'll say. For now, let's get a check on the weather with Marco Patanga.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest, say up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you to our global community for watching and listening to GB News. We're not only the #1 news channel in Britain, we're chosen by you around the world.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Flooding has shut the A9 both ways at Blair Athol. On the M4 eastbound, expect heavy congestion between junction 28 at Tredegar Park and junction 24 at Coldra. In Warrington, Northamptonshire's M6 northbound is blocked at junction 21 after a crash. In Solihull, the M6 northbound between junction 4 and junction 6 has a broken down vehicle with one lane closed. Also, on the trains, Gatwick Express has major disruption at Redhill, and Southern has delays between Chichester and Havant, with further major disruption at Redhill. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Very good morning. More than 500 people are dead in Iran as protests continue to escalate. Sir Keir Starmer is facing calls to prescribe Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist group.
President Trump has said he is considering very strong military options against Iran as the protester death toll climbs.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Multiple people have been injured as a lorry has rammed into a crowd at an anti-Iran protest in Los Angeles.
After months of mounting pressure, farmers in this country are taking direct action against a broken supply chain, threatening the future of British food production. Will it make any difference?
MPs call on the Home Secretary to sack the head of West Midlands Police. It's after they were accused of misleading Parliament over a ban on Israeli football fans at the Maccabi Tel Aviv match in November.
Former heads of the British Armed Forces are making a last-ditch rallying cry to scrap the handover of the Chagos Islands ahead of a vote in Parliament today.
Film and TV stars have taken to the red carpet overnight for the Golden Globes in Los Angeles. We're going to be bringing you the latest from the big night.
Yes, it was a good night for adolescents, once again sweeping up this time with 4 Golden Globes. I'll have all of the winners and losers later in the show.
Hello, good morning. We've got a much milder day in store across the UK than of late, but we do hold on to pretty unsettled weather conditions, particularly towards the northwest today. Very blustery winds here, especially through the morning. I'll have all the details later.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Just after 9 o'clock, you're very welcome on board. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Lots of you reacting to the story on the front page of the Telegraph today that toddlers' ability to speak is damaged by screen time. This is a new British study, the first of its kind, that said that an average 2-year-old in Britain watches more than 2 hours of television every single day.
Well, does it really surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me, but it's not good, is it?
No,
especially when it's affecting their speech.
It's not good, but it is the great babysitter. It is what keeps kids quiet. And therefore, as an under-pressure parent, you're going to be very much tempted to say, just watch that. Yes, watch that. Yeah, fine. And, you know, it's easy to do that, but is it the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Because it means a number of children are turning up to school not being able to speak in sentences. Lots of you reacting to this. Terence says, unfortunately, many parents are totally useless at parenting their kids, which is why they then rely on the state.
Yeah. I mean, it's when parents don't actually do any parenting, when they don't teach their children how to brush their teeth or how to go to the loo, clean themselves, whatever. I mean, that's really difficult. And then to expect teachers to do that job. Teachers have got enough to do without doing that.
Yeah, teaching people now how to talk and go to the toilet and all the rest. Jackie says, our daughter has just turned 3. She's an August baby. She went to a nursery school which insisted that they be toilet trained. I was shocked. She already knew her alphabet. She had communication and speech skills. It's called parenting. Lee, I have 2 children with autism. One was non-verbal until they were 5 or 6. They could count their numbers way further than their classmates, but you do have to persist with verbal interaction. OK, there's a story that'll run today about should there be a ban for under 16-year-olds as regards social media. Top story this morning, hundreds of people killed in protests in Iran. Sam Francis with the very latest. What are you coming across, Sam?
Yeah, good morning to you both. Well, what is clear is that the death toll in Iran certainly is continuing to rise and rise fast. That as the regime there is cracking down on its situation in the protests on the streets. The UK urging Tehran to show some form of restraint. But what started as simple street demonstrations back in December have now really turned into one of the most significant challenges that the regime has faced in years. Here are just some of the pictures that we've seen coming into us in the last. 144 people known to have been killed so far. That just an estimate from some human rights organisations this morning, and they are anticipating that to continue to rise further. 10,000 others also arrested by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, as protests are really now aimed directly at the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And it isn't just staying in Iran. The protests and demonstrations now spreading across the globe. In fact, here in London over the weekend, outside the Iranian embassy, hundreds gathered. And for the second day running, the flag that hangs outside that embassy was torn down. Meanwhile, in Washington, Donald Trump has hinted overnight that there could be possible grounds for negotiations with the Iranian leadership, but he has steered clear of confirming just whether he will hold off on military action.
We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Well, here in the UK, Sir Keir Starmer is now coming under pressure from MPs and from opposition parties, the likes of Reform UK and the Conservatives, to prescribe the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organisation, therefore banning them and banning the right to support them on the streets. Right now, though, getting a full picture from the ground in Iran is increasingly difficult, that due to widespread internet blackouts and phone lines being cut. That really an attempt by the regime to prevent any pictures, any evidence of just what's taking place on the ground, the likes of shootings and deaths, from emerging and getting out into the wider public. But what we do know for sure is that for every shot that is fired and every protester from civilians on the streets, this situation seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
OK.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
London's homicide rates are the lowest they've been in 11 years. The Met Police Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, told us this morning that London is safer than it's ever been.
This is fantastic news, isn't it? And of course, every case is a tragedy, and we do an amazing job supporting the families in those moments, and we solve 95% of those cases. I think we should just dwell on the fact that London is comparatively safe globally as well. There are cities like Paris or Milan or Toronto, their homicide rates are half as big again. Cities like New York or Brussels or Berlin are 3 times our rate. That's because of the fantastic work we've done targeting the most dangerous criminals.
Well, that's the Police Commissioner there, Sir Mark Rowley. Detective Chief Superintendent of the Met, Kevin Hurley, or former Detective Superintendent of the Met, Kevin Hurley, joins us now. Kevin, what did you make about these figures? I mean, any drop is good, but is this a big enough drop?
No, I mean, it's an excellent result that the murder rate has dropped across London, and we should all be pleased. And the fact is, Mark Rowley is right. London is one of the safest major cities in the world, and we often talk up it's not as safe as it should be. But there's some reasons why there's no room for complacency, and that is a lot of the people who get stabbed and attacked in the street normally. What I mean by that is the young gangs, often young black kids, don't die when they might otherwise have done so. And the reason for that is that the National Health Service has a large number of military reservists who took the learning back from Afghanistan and Iraq, saving the lives of our soldiers out there in terms of stopping traumatic blood loss. And that learning now has gone right forward onto the emergency ambulances and to some extent is training of police officers so that people actually don't bleed to death on the street or in the ambulance. So there is another side to this. Nonetheless, it is very positive news that the murder rate has dropped down, but there is no room for complacency because, as we know, phones being snatched is a major concern for us, and criminals will always find ways of exploiting the opportunity. And there's an issue yet to be overcome about the dreadful murder by PC Cousins and the rapist PC Carrick, and indeed the recent case in the vetting of Metropolitan Police officers. I think there's real learning there that when government tries to use a long screwdriver and impose their will on the police, they often mess it up. And by that I mean that Theresa May and the budget under Osborne cut the police by 20,000 police officers and 22,000 civil staff who supported them, Then Boris came in and said, I have 20,000 police officers, and to make sure you police chiefs do it, we'll penalise you if you don't. Of course, they're between a rock and a hard place, and some decision makers along the way decided to drop the process of vetting to speed up the route of getting people in, which is always a mistake in policing. They should be vetted to a very high standard.
Yeah.
And even if they're vetted to the current standard, I don't think that's satisfactory, because in the old days, and I would say this, part of that process was a local inspector would go round and talk to your family, talk to your neighbours and say, is he or she like?
Yeah.
Well, they've cut all that. COVID forced it to be cut and so on.
OK, well, Kevin, thanks very much indeed for adding your two halfpence worth to it all as well. At least they're moving in the right direction till we get a nil representation of all of that for us all to be really happy. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Now,
so you're going to the
pleasure.
movies. You're going to go and see things at the movies that that are all in. What are you going to see?
I'd like to see Hamlet tonight. Haven't booked tickets, but would like to. And Housemaid, which won't be up for any awards because I think it's a bit of a chick flick, if you like. But that's the plan this week.
If it is, and it is popular, let's find out. We've got Alex now in the studio to talk about the Golden Globes and who won what, when and where.
Yeah. Well, Hamlet has proven very popular.
Right, just to get this straight, we're not saying Hamlet. We're
not Hamlet, Hamnet.
And who is or what is Hamnet?
Hamnet is the name of the book, which is about William Shakespeare and his wife's the grief that they go through after losing a child, and it's been put onto the screen now, starring Jessie Buckley, who won Best Actress last night.
It's a true story.
I don't think so. I think it's one of those ones that maybe inspired. Yeah.
Maggie O'Farrell.
Yeah, I'm not actually 100% sure. I haven't seen it. It's not quite up my street. I can't lie. But judging by the reception it's got, it's done very, very well. And like I said, it won Best Drama last night, and it won Best Actress for Jessie Buckley. I've mentioned a number of times that Adolescence also performed incredibly well on the British side of things. One battle after another did incredibly well as well. But one man who I know a lot of our viewers are a fan of, who also won last night, is a man called Ricky Gervais, who won Best Stand-Up Special for his latest Mortality. That's the name of his latest special on Netflix. He is a funny man who doesn't mind pushing the boundaries, shall we say. However, last night he wasn't there to accept his award. Instead, an American comedian called Wanda Sykes accepted the award. And it's caused a lot of controversy, even though he wasn't there, because she decided to make quite a statement when she went on stage to accept it. I think we have a clip of it here.
Golden Globe goes to... Tiana, can I borrow your speech? Ricky Gervais, because he would like to thank God and the trans community. Ricky Gervais could not be here, so we'll accept this on his behalf.
Yeah, so she's coming under a bit of fire for that.
Why?
Because Ricky Gervais is very famously, he's been accused of being transphobic and anti-trans in his material, jokes, by the way, and he's also come out and obviously insisted he's not anti-trans. He's also a very outspoken and public atheist. And that was very pointed from Wanda Sykes. She used that opportunity. This is an award win for Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais probably won't care, but at the end of the day, it's still a pretty big Hollywood award win. She's getting a bit of stick for sort of overshadowing it with this big political stance.
And taking his moment.
And taking his moment, almost. Like I said, he's not there. Knowing his character, he probably won't care. But I don't know what you both thought of that. Do you think she overshadowed that? Do you think she should have held back and just said, I accept it on his behalf, or...?
I don't think award shows are the time for politics. I know they are, and that's the nature of things now, but it's not. It should be about achievement.
It should be. There were a few other political stances last night. A few people wearing pin badges in opposition to ICE. Obviously, we had the whole Renee Good stuff last week, so a lot of people were coming out and making political stances, but actually on the stage, it remained relatively apolitical.
What tickled your fancy? What was there that you thought, I've watched this. This is good.
One Battle After Another is a very good film. Weapons, which I said about earlier, it was my favourite film last year and it won nothing, which is a travesty. There were a few films that I'm glad didn't do very well. We spoke about Frankenstein earlier. J. Kelly with George Clooney was up for a few awards. I'm very glad that didn't do well because I thought that was it was so boring. It was George Clooney basically playing George Clooney.
Yes.
And
he's getting old.
It's like the last of the Hollywood superstar.
Losing his allure.
Effectively, but it tries to make you feel sympathy for George Clooney. And I'm just like...
He's doing
well, I think George Clooney's fine. And because the character of J. Kelly is so similar to George Clooney, it's quite hard to differentiate. And because of that, I found it difficult to break that fourth wall it did for me. I was very much just didn't feel sorry. So I'm glad that didn't do well.
But it was another one that was released almost simultaneously on streaming as it was in the theatre.
Oh, they all are now.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you will get a big film, get a big theatrical release where it won't be available to stream or rent. Sky have a lot of stuff that they rent.
I don't know how cinema's going to make their money, but anyway.
I love the cinema as well.
Me too.
So do I.
Alex, thanks for staying up for us.
Yes, I
appreciate it, Alex. Thank you.
It.
Going straight to bed.
Yes, get yourself to bed.
Great British giveaway now. Have a go.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. What would you spend all of that cash on? 2026 could be the year you spend more time spending with an incredible £85,000 in your bank. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us still to come. We're going to be meeting 3 youngsters who are on course to become the youngest team ever to row across the Atlantic. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to be speaking to them live from the middle of the Atlantic, hopefully, next.
They haven't even docked yet.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things up the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now let's speak to the three flying fish, shall we? Anna, Rowan and Harry. They're on course to become the youngest team ever to complete a 3,000-mile Atlantic crossing, as well as the youngest team to row any ocean in history.
Along the way, they're raising funds and awareness for Teenage Cancer Trust, supporting young people facing cancer when they need it most. Well, joining us now from the Atlantic, three rowers, Anna Dunk, Rowan Daly and Harry Allen. And our respect and admiration to you. Is the sun coming up or is it going down, guys?
Sun is coming up, so we stay on GMT for our row anyway. So the sun started coming up about 20 minutes ago, but it is quite overcast, as you can see. There's not a lot of sun out. Yesterday, it was absolutely lovely with the sun. It's really 50-50 with the weather, but currently it's nice. It's warm, windy, wavy, but warm.
How long have you been rowing for now? What's the row been like so far?
So we've been rowing for, today is day 30. We've done 2,000 land miles and we've just hit our 1,000 miles left to go. So on there, you can see we've got 998.0 nautical miles left until we reach the finish line in Antigua.
Harry, I have to say, huge respect for you three and what you've done. I could think of nothing worse. I mean, it's dangerous. But even watching you's making me seasick. You're floating about from side to side there. But what a great cause this is, and you're raising such awareness for it.
Amazing, yeah. We're doing it for Teenage Cancer Trust. A friend of mine passed away when she was very young at school, and I realised at the time that the amazing work Teenage Cancer Trust did. So when we decided to row an ocean, we knew we had to do it for such an amazing like Teenage Cancer Trust.
Now, you've got, you're live here on British television, as you know, on GB News. If people can do anything for you, and our audiences on radio and TV are very, very good at helping out, what do you want people to do that will have helped make it all worthwhile for you?
I think for us, so we're doing it with the world's toughest row, and they're absolutely incredible. But we just want people to watch the campaign, watch the other teams. There's 43 teams out at the moment. We're a pretty close, fast fleet, so watch the row, support every team, including us, if you can. Obviously, if you can donate, it would be absolutely incredible. Pretty much all our socials are Three Flying Fish. Our website's the3flyingfish.com. All our links are on there to donate, our Just Giving. Also, any social media you want to share, have a look at. Just give us support. You know, we call home quite often. My mum often says, you got this comment on Instagram from someone, and it'll be someone we've never met before, but it'll be the nicest comment of support ever. So for us, it's just support us. You know, if you can donate, please do. And yeah, keep watching.
Well, congratulations.
Anna, Rowan, Harry,
well
you're
done,
all
guys.
superstars. We are right behind you here on GB News. Keep going and stay safe. We'll talk to you when you get there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you three. Now let's go straight to the weather. Britain's Newsroom coming up straight after with Andrew and Miriam.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Conditions look much milder across the UK today than of late, but we do hold on to fairly unsettled weather too. Outbreaks of rain in most areas and fairly blustery, especially towards the northwest of the UK. Here we could well see some gales, if not severe gale force winds, certainly through the morning. Gusts of wind towards the northwest there up to 70, even 80 miles an hour. Further south, we'll see a bit of brightness to start the day, particularly across the east and northeast of England. But notice these showers towards the southwest, pushing their way northeastwards across England and Wales as we go through the day. And some of those showers merging to give some longer spells of rain too into the afternoon. Much milder than of late, temperatures in the north up to 7 to 9 degrees, peaking at 12 degrees down towards the southeast, that's into the mid-50s in Fahrenheit. As we go towards the end of the day, we do hold on to quite blustery weather across the far north and northwest of Scotland. Further outbreaks of rain to come here. There's still a risk of gales in the most exposed spots. The south and east of Scotland will see some clear spells and a scattering of showers. And across the north of England and Northern Ireland, we'll also see a mixture of clear spells and scattered showers to end the day. Further south, it's mostly fine towards the southwest with lighter winds here, with most of the showers across the southeast of England at this stage. Heading into the evening then and into the overnight period, those winds will start to ease across the far north and northeast of the UK, and it's the central slice of the UK set to see the most unsettled weather. Outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the north of England. To the southeast of that, mostly dry, fairly cloudy, and a touch of frost forming with some slightly colder air starting to tuck back in there across the northwest of Scotland. As for Tuesday, the air could become cold enough across the far north there to give a little bit of winteriness once again, particularly across the northwest Highlands and across the southern uplands of Scotland. Elsewhere though, it's a mostly cloudy day in store with outbreaks of rain developing on and off through the day, most of that on the fairly light side. And wherever you are, temperatures stay pretty respectable for the time of year, especially away from the far northwest. Here, temperatures around 5 to 7 degrees, but once again peaking at 10, even 11 Celsius down towards the south and southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across social media. We are truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A9 is closed both ways at Blair Athol after flooding. On the A4232 northbound, from the A48 interchange to the M4 junction 33 at Capel Lunilturn, expect heavy congestion. On the M66 southbound between the A56 and junction 1, a crash has shut one lane. In Derbyshire, the A38 northbound between the A61 at Alfreton and the M1 has lane closures after a collision with long delays. Also on the trains, Gatwick Express has major disruption at Redhill, and Southern is delayed between Chichester and Havant, plus Redhill. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
I think that many problems that Luton has, I think many parts of the country are suffering from those problems. Okay. But I think there are some good aspects to living in Luton as well.
But Raki, we have to address the elephant in the room in a sense, and that is Luton an example of a failed multicultural town? What I mean by that is we have 54.8% of the population is non-white.